Just testing my volume.
We
Can you guys hear me?
Thanks.
Yes, we can.
I forget what you look like.
So, Mr. Chair, whenever you're ready, I can do record the call.
Good afternoon. This is Angus McLeod, Chair of the Nantucket Historic District Commission. Welcome to today's Tuesday, August 25th, 2026 meeting. Today we have Abby Camp, Val Oliver, and Connie Patton with us in the room, and up on Zoom, we've got Ray Pohl, Carrie Thornwell, Joe Paul. And did you say that Holly was going to be?
Holly is right behind you.
Oh, welcome, Holly.
Good evening or good afternoon.
All right. Would someone like to?
It's Esteban. It's Esteban.
Welcome, Stephen.
Hold on.
All right.
Okay, so would someone like to approve the agenda?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Let's just go with who's in the room. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that moves us on to commissioner comments. Any commissioners care to comment?
On what?
Anything that isn't on the agenda? All right, hearing none. I'm seeing the signs on the agenda, but we're waiting till next week. Is that?
Yes, Mr. Chair, so those will be held over till September 1st.
Okay. We'll move on to Commissioner Q&A with Preservation Planner Holly Backus. Holly, what do you have for us?
Hi all. I just want let you all know one, I'm going to be here this evening while although I'm not physically there. Sorry about that. A couple more weeks until school starts. But I also just wanted to mention to those that I mentioned this before about Section 106 changes that ACHP has trying to push through. I sent a letter on behalf of myself as preservation planner for the town with obviously the appropriate approvals from town leadership. And I copied both chair of the HDC, Ray Pohl, and chair of the Historical Commission, Rita Carr, and of course other members within the town government. But I will share that with the commission for their consideration. And I would highly recommend, if you have not been led to submit your own comments to our congressional leadership in Massachusetts, I would highly recommend it. Other than that, I'm here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Does anyone have questions for Holly before we move on to old business? All right, seeing none, let's move on to old business 8/11/26. Starting with Two Stone Alley. Good afternoon, Linda.
This person must have been really tall. These are all these notes. Do you want these? Okay, I want to make sure we have everybody. There's Ray. Is Steve not up there, right?
He's here.
Oh, he's physically in the room.
Wait, why are you there?
Ray's
I'm-
not here, though. We miss him.
No, he's up there.
I know, we miss him here.
Actually, speaking of Ray, who was chairing this last time it was?
Ray.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, I've got it down as Stephen.
Yeah.
Well, that was
At least
that
that's what I
long
pulled
ago.
off of the previous, the old business that I got.
We're so well organized.
So,
Hey.
I don't see a chair listed.
so should I just shift that over?
No. Okay, so Linda, what do you got for us?
If you want to put the pictures up there or the plans up there on the board there, anybody, somebody. Oh, Fiona. We simplified the trim. I think that was one of the biggest issues, was simplifying the trim. I put all the other pictures back in there of all the other decks that are perfectly visible all the way down to Francis Street, including some that have 3 decks with white railing. And we thought this gave that flat roofed element some profile. And we reduced the height of the railing and we reduced the amount of the overhang on the trim. I can't do anything without it up on the board, though. They've seen the pictures, it's just the plan.
Well, to be clear, the elevations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably the other attachment. There we go.
All right, can you zoom in on that one? Yeah,
There you go.
all right, Linda, why don't you,
There were a couple of other trim pieces that were sticking out. Let's say they had a higher profile. The piece below it that does stick out somewhat is the integrated gutter system in that back room. But we reduced the other fluffy things that were on the trim. I think that was the biggest issue. Subdued it. And then shortened the railing and set it. So that's where we are this time.
all right. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant's agent?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Ray.
What was previously approved on this?
Just a flat roofed element with nothing.
Oh, there was no deck?
No, there was a deck, but you'd fall off it.
Well,
Huh.
if you
Put it
weren't-
that way.
If you weren't careful.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I remembered approving a deck rail up there, but I'm mistaken, obviously. Thank you.
Well, there is a deck rail. If you look at that picture that's up on the screen on the left, there's quite a substantial amount of white deck rail with a stair on it on the left side. This was going to tie into it, but there's a slight jog between this and that.
Right, so Linda, I need to interrupt you just for a moment for clarifications. So basically what happened with this structure is it's been here several times on this topic, no shade there. At one point, we approved a mock-up that was constructed and left there for some time for viewing and whatnot. And now it's back before us for a finalization.
Yeah, because the mock-up was actually set back from the front plane, from the east side. It was set back halfway through that flat roof deck, and nobody thought that was appropriate either. And it would have looked very strange. So
Yep.
that was the mock-up that was up there.
Okay, who'd like to express their concerns or comments, please?
Well, I'll go. I seriously have driven by, slammed on the brakes and looked up to see from Union Street what you can see of this house. It really is not significantly different at all from any other house. This iteration seems to have a really wide band that would be white. Is that a problem? I'm not sure. It looks like 75 other iterations on the street. I guess with regard to this house in particular, maybe the best solution is to just have a parapet roof. Then it looks like a roof, you don't see any railing, end of story, they get their deck. But I am not opposed to this at all. I think it meets the criteria in the neighborhood.
Thanks, Val. Now, let's see. Ray?
Yeah, I can go. Thanks. first of all, I've been walking down Stone Alley a number of times and have always meant to call or text Matt to compliment him on how this all worked out, because I, like Val, agree that after all that, after all those years, we have something that I think is very appropriate to that area. Um, so with regard to this deck in particular, I think Val brings up a good point about the amount of white. So it would essentially start, if I'm looking at this elevation with the red bubble, it would start where the bottom of the red bubble is at the column capitals, maybe even lower than that, and go extend all the way up to where the railing is. So my question for you, Linda, is why are we looking at a hybrid? Why isn't the railing going like all the way down? I can't imagine that the floor of this thing is way up underneath of where the bottom rail is.
Matt? We had, by the way, we had a parapet type thing in here on one of our options several months ago, and nobody liked that either. So we've already explored that one.
Hold on,
So what
one
was-
person on the floor at a time, please.
Matt,
Could you repeat the question, Mr. Chair? I'm sorry, I was in the audience.
Yeah, basically a summary is, why is that fascia so tall when the deck height is obviously much lower than it? I think I know the answer.
Yeah, so the goal was to try to minimize the height of the railing so it looked like more of a decorative element. And we did have a version where we had some more ornamentation, some more trim to kind of minimize the blankness of that section of wall. And Linda, who's been instrumental in this process, was concerned that it was becoming too busy. So we may have overcorrected too much in that regard. But the intent was to just reduce the height of the railing so it looked more decorative than anything.
Thank you. Any other questions, Ray, or just want to go back in?
Well, okay, so I do appreciate the intent, although I think if the railing were somewhat larger, we wouldn't get that extremely wide white band course running across. That's my only consideration. Thank you.
we could do that through staff.
Linda, hold on, please.
Yeah.
Abby,
Oh, I'm not.
you're listed as on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
That's
Can
okay.
somebody else go?
Can somebody else go? Sure. Angus?
I would like to go, but I'd also like to hear from the preservation planner, because she's been following this since for years, since it's begun.
5.
We do have staff comments. I do not, at least when I'm chairing, want to get in the habit of reiterating written words. The reason we have staff comments in advance is so we can consider them, reflect on them, make informed determinations with their input. But certainly, Holly, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess I would just guide you all to look at the May 26, 2026 minutes, which I included in my comments, that commissioners of the last meeting stated that all the current options required additional refinement before the application can move forward. I thought that there was going to be options provided in addition to what was provided with this revision. I specifically mentioned that the cap detail is not appropriate, and that was per your 2024 review, back when the deck was originally submitted, and you all mentioned that it was disproportionate and drawn unnecessarily as an attention, but maybe that is a moot point now. So those are my comments. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Holly. Abby, back to you. Oh, actually, Angus.
So thank you for that. The reason so, when we're trying to be planned and read the comments ahead of time, and there's a large agenda or a lot of comments, you can't always remember those, and sometimes commissioners aren't able to review these beforehand. So it's just nice to have the comments fresh in our minds. But one of the points is that this was basically reviewed and rejected, and I don't know why we're looking at it again. This is something that would be character defining on the houses that are used for examples, but it's not this barn come residence, a character defining element, and it's a prominent element on a very unique stone alley. There just isn't there aren't very many paths like that in town, and this is definitely affecting what you're seeing there. Thank you.
Thanks, Abby.
For me, I think it's sort of, it's a lot of balustrade on, is it also on the, can we see the other elevation of the step alley side?
There's nothing on the step alley. It's all on the south side. That's already been approved and built.
No, well, so this space is Union Street, this elevation. And then you have it on the south side as well, right?
Yeah, that's already approved and built.
But you don't have it on the north side. What is on the north side?
If you scroll down,
I think you have the north elevation there somewhere.
I think it's the next sheet.
That's south.
South. There's north.
There's north.
So that is a balustrade. So the balustrade goes up.
Yeah.
It's set back twice from Stone Alley, which is why the pictures were so illustrative. You can't see it at all because the year-round vegetation is so tall.
Yeah, they planted that.
Well,
but-
so I guess my point would be that it's an awful lot of balustrade, and if we could reduce that somehow to either be like a shingle wall, or maybe they come around the corner and there are crossbucks or something, not so, I don't know, just looks like the balustrade is sort of taking over this little historic building. So I would rather see less balustrade. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, can we go back to the original elevation you showed? Yeah, and then can you slide over so we can see the one on the left too? It's on the left. Oh, that's a different picture. It's
I think these are the reduced 8.5 by 11s.
No, go south. Go the other way.
actually that was a good one back down there. Matt, this is going to show us all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you zoom in on that? Yeah, a little bit more, please. All right, so if I had my druthers, retrospectively, we would have requested that the ceiling height be a foot lower and that the deck would be integrated and then railed. And that would eliminate a lot of the problems we're facing currently. But we're not going to go back in time, and we're not going to have you rip the roof off.
Could I just add one piece of critical information, because we actually did step it down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the first floor and the second floor step down 2 risers.
I know I knew you did that. I
Yeah.
recall we discussed it at length.
Yeah.
And just a testament that, despite what you might read, the HTC process is very successful, at least a good portion of the time. It might take a little bit longer, but ultimately you come up with something that you can go by and you can look at in a pleasant way and be happy that it's part of the historic character and setting in Nantucket. But in any event, Matt, this has got too much. To me, it's taken on its own identity and it overtakes the structure with the proposed modification. It's a lot of railing to be up there. It is, on the other hand, as Val and others have stated, something that's not, you're never gonna see this way. The only way you're gonna see this is looking up at a very distance from Union Street and closer up at Stone Alley, but I think that it's obstructed by cypress, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, are probably the most inappropriate plant for that location.
That's another story for another.
Yeah,
day.
but it would be HTC friendly and community friendly to come in with a modification for like columnar hollies or something.
They planted those probably like 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
When we started the process. And I think that was the goal, is that it's not visible, but we can certainly bring that to the owner to see if there's a better piece. The other quick thing that I would just throw out there is that, and I think Linda submitted some of these antecedents or other similar types of treatments of structures like this, or specifically, I don't know if you call them sunrooms or sun porches, where a lot of them do have these railing systems on top of them. So that's kind of why we're back.
Yeah, no,
for
I,
it.
I get it. I've seen them. I've been up and down Union Street. We've looked at this over a long period of time since it hasn't been back in for quite a while with the revision. This is something you can see from Orange Street as a detail as you look up through between homes. You can see on other homes. For me, though, we're studying this under a microscope. Can we go, Matt, can you direct Fiona to the antecedent, the prior submission?
Sure. I think it's in Linda's packet. Is that in your packet, Linda?
I don't know if it's in the packet because it's in the file and,
I saw it in here. I just don't know what sheet it's on.
Have you,
well,
No,
we had
hold
the
on.
3 options in there and they're not up here.
Hold on, Linda.
I was talking about just the precedent photos of other.
No,
Similar
there's one, yeah, they're before this. Go a little slower. I think we went up.
I'd keep going. I think maybe.
Because I just want to point out, Steve, what you mentioned, when you're standing down on Union Street, you're looking up at it. So you're going to see a fraction of that railing.
Yeah, no, I understand, Linda. Thank you. Can you go down one sheet, 2 sheets?
So it's not going to look as obvious as it does right here on flat.
And can you go to the left side of the lower 3, the smaller ones? I think that's the one I'm looking for. Oh,
Yeah.
scroll down again a little more to get, no. Yeah, keep going. Yeah, Matt, no. 2, there you go. Matt, this one looks more appropriate to me with the breakup. I'm of 2 minds. One is that we want it to not overshadow the home. The other is that, according to Secretary of the Interior standards, it should actually not look like it's part of the original structure in order
Right.
to preserve the integrity of the character of the original structure. So I think I'm more okay with this, given 2 important factors. One, this view is only from Union Street and it's only a portion of the sliver of it. And 2, the stone alley, I would suggest, if we were to approve something here tonight or even in the future, has to have a not visible of filtered visibility at time of inspection and thereafter, and strongly suggest the applicant consider a more appropriate planning material, because in the long run, those cypress are going to be, let's see, that's on a north-south orientation,
East-west,
the cypress,
east-west.
Kind of east-west.
Yeah.
east-west, so they might,
It's
those might
parallel
actually
to
fill in if
stone
they're
alley.
actually sheared and maintained as a hedge.
Yeah.
If
They're a
they're
little
north-south,
crazy.
they're going to be
Yeah. They're a little
if
out of control
east-west,
right now.
totally east-west, they're not going to work
Yeah.
that way.
Now,
Okay,
Steve, we
anyway.
had this before and some of the board wanted it simplified, but this is our original presentation.
right. No, I
last month.
understand. I'm just, my point is that
I like
the
that.
simplification turns that fascia into a monolith. And
Yeah.
I personally believe it's more appropriate not to have a tall baluster up there, even though the mass is less. It will appear to be more than it is. That's my personal thought.
We're happy with this one.
Okay, and then last but not least, the concept of, unless we're gonna backpedal to 3 to 6 months, the idea of staff comments and other initiatives were to come to the meeting prepared, so that we're not here with long agendas that are backlogged for 3 to 6 months, and we're not here for many hours more than we actually need to be because we did a little bit of reading at home in the bathtub. What do we want to do with this, folks?
Can I ask a question,
Sure.
Mr. Chair? So the difference between the image, the east elevation that we are looking at right now and the one that was put on the table as the new, revision, what's the difference? I know that the gutter is further up, higher up than what was submitted, correct?
Yeah, it's a shorter rail and there's a couple more trim details.
But so the long and short of it, to Val's comment, is from the capitals of the pilasters all the way up to the bottom of the baluster is all white, or is there shingle in there?
All white.
It's all white.
It's all white. Yeah. I just think that's a lot of white, and I think there are other ways that it could be handled where it doesn't need to be all white.
Could I make a suggestion,
Please.
perhaps like a hybrid where we add more ornamentation, but maybe slightly increase the railing height? So a combination of what Ray's suggesting and a combination of what Steve is suggesting in terms of like the ornamentation, the buildup looks better in this version, but but by increasing the railing height and slightly minimizing this level of detail, that it might be a hybrid of the two. Just a suggestion.
Well, Matt, I think you've got consensus that it needs to be modified, and you've got the comments along the line of thought that you're stating. The shadow line that's created by the gutter and the angle of the upper trim, I think cannot be understated in terms of its benefit. So can we get a motion?
I
Can I
think,
just ask a question?
Yeah, go-
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can we go to his presentation, like page 10?
I think it's on this page, but to the
No,
right.
page 10.
Yeah, it's right there.
It's right there.
So what I'm suggesting is for here to just be roof, shingles.
Val, we did that and everybody hated it when we
No.
brought that in.
It wasn't quite that. It was shorter than that, but it's just about mitigating the white for me.
So it sounds like, Matt, you've got a few potential options to
Mhm.
present to us.
I'd,
Do you get what I mean?
I
I'd
do.
make a motion
Thank you.
for revisions, and just provide a few diverse options,
Okay.
just taking from our conversation tonight.
And Matt, may I just simplify the presentation
Understood.
so we can
Do like A and B.
Just zero it in.
do one sheet and show the previous.
Yeah.
That'd be helpful. On your motion, Angus,
Aye.
Ray,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
and I'm an aye.
Thank you.
For your time.
Okay, with that much fun under our belts, we're now gonna move to 126 Main Street. The board is myself, Val, Angus, Connie, and Joe. Abby, Camp,
I must have had fun.
with a pleasant flourish. Hi, Chip, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Chip Stahl, representing the owner, 126 Main. We're returning after it was previously approved, and we came in with an application for side-by-side parking. We've done away with that. We have single car parking. We listened to the commission on the last one, greatly reduced the amount of hardscape, hard surfaces. We reduced the rounding at the street curb cut from 15 to 13 feet, which is what was previously approved. We also reduced the hardscape at the top of the driveway, eliminating cobblestone landing off the top of the stairs, the walk downstairs to the lower level. We reduced the brick landing at the entry steps, which is needed to have a hard surface for usage, including the owner has 2 handicapped people in the family. We're doing substantial planting along the side of the house, the west side of the house, between the parking. To soften the appearance, reduce the wall at the town tree, which was required by town arborist, but we reduced it to what was previously approved. We changed the from brick on the driveway to cobblestone runners, which for Holly had suggested that was more appropriate. I'd like to note that this is the only property as of right now from the bank to Caden Circle without its own driveway. As well as evidence from the photos are most of them have significantly more hardscape surfacing, including our abutter at 128 who has far greater hardscape surfaces for their driveway. We have a conforming lot, conforming frontage, ground cover, and it's in need of a parking spot. We're asking for the one parking space when the select board has asked for two. When we were here before, there was support for the full 20 by 9 parking space, and not the one was also allowed by the bylaw of 7 by 17, which is why we are back at the HDC.
Thanks, Chip. Questions?
This is Joe. I have a question.
Go ahead, Joe.
I just listened to all these changes that were made, and I don't see any graphic evidence of like a before and after or anything that's clouded. And I don't know if I missed it or not. There's one site plan here, but I was curious what the previous plan had looked like since it had been a while since we'd seen it. Is there a before plan or no?
Hold on. Yeah,
Should be a before plan in the packet.
it's in another packet.
Yeah, there should be another, it was, I can
Guys.
eliminate, I can tell you what that was. There was a cobblestone at the base of where the basement goes down. We took that out. The brick landing was larger. The rounding was 15 feet. So we would have had to circle the whole thing, Joe. And it is 9 by 20 instead of 9 by 17, because the select board was not happy with the fact that it, even though it was by zoning, they wanted it 20 feet deep. So the forward part of the brick landing for the stairway, which is the primary entrance to the house, got smaller and shorter in square footage. So I think it's like 36 square feet or something. I can't read it from here. So we've removed some cobblestone from the house. We're going to plant between the parking and the house to soften that space. And some of the ones up there in that area are completely wide open with no softening. And we reduced, Holly made a comment about the 15-foot rounding, which is now back to the original approval, which was 13 feet. Does that answer your question?
I mean, yeah, it just, there was a lot of pages in the packet and I just kept scrolling before the meeting looking for the before submission and the after. Like something side by side would have been super helpful. Okay, but having this up on the screen and hearing your description again is helpful.
Any other questions? Holly?
Thank you. I just wanted to answer Joe. All of the previous approvals that you all have done are included in my staff comments. So that way you can compare them with what's being proposed. At the end of the day, I pretty much summed it up that the previously approved had a 9-foot wide by 17-foot long brick and grass center. The proposed includes that 9 by 20 as indicated. Thanks.
Yeah, and with cobblestone instead.
Thank
So
you.
just to be clear, we previously approved a
Brick.
driveway.
Yeah,
Yes.
brick runners at 9 by 17.
Yep, I'm just saying.
Grass in the middle and
Yeah,
stuff.
grass, we still have the grass in the middle.
Okay. All right, Linda, please, it's like, I don't want to come here and feel like I'm being overrun with discussion. It's like the most pleasant part of the day, and let's just everybody take their turn. And all right, so Joe, do you want it? There's no other questions. Would you like to please comment?
Sure, I can comment. I'm looking at, thanks Holly for
Yeah.
pointing that out, that the previous plan is there. How do I put this? Looking at the locus plan, I think that the applicant makes a good point relative to the size of this property compared to other properties. I was definitely thrown by the amount of overall hardscape. But out of fairness to the applicant, was thinking about 126 and 126R, and initially was thinking about there's two driveways, but understanding they're separate properties. And I've let go of that. And I think the applicant makes a good point about the number of, like, almost every property here has a driveway along Main Street, most of them right up against the house. And the previous HDC approval has the driveway right at the house. And then the current proposal actually shifts the driveway towards the, I guess, towards Upper Main Street. I was going to say towards the town tree. And I understand there's been an effort to make sure that the town tree isn't affected in any negative way. So this, I think, feels like we're going to get more green space between the house and the parking area, and of course the tree in the parking area. So I actually think that this is an improvement over the previous approval. Even though the driveway is longer, I think the length of the driveway and the brick landing being as far back as it is definitely is more square footage of hardscape, but I think that it's only a dramatic impact when you're looking at it in a site plan or as the crow flies. I think as you're walking along Main Street, the fact that this driveway is buffered from the corner of the house with plantings, that the length of it is going to be mitigated, and I appreciate the cobblestones with the plantings in between. So I have come to feel that this is appropriate given the evidence that the applicants provided, and it fits in the context. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe. Who else?
I can
would
go.
Angus.
Thank you. So, yeah, the subdivision of this is sort of brought on a hardship that, now we're having to deal with. There was a fair amount of green space around the house and a driveway that went back to the garage, which would be more typical of this period house. And so the approval that I'm looking at is not hard against the house. There's still room for planting, but it's more compact and fits between the porch and the sidewalk at the street, which gives a much larger green space between the drive and the neighbor and around the tree, and sort of gives more of a sense of the green space that was once there. The combination of the longer space being set away from the house, landing at a brick walkway that's like a terrace, in addition to a cobblestone walkway. Then beyond it, they're like 4 elements of hardscaping from the street all the way back to the areaway.
I don't believe you're looking at the right plan then, because the cobblestone walkway is gone.
Please.
I'm looking at the first page of the application.
Okay, well, let's hold on a quick sec. Angus, just to be
It's
clear.
gone.
Linda, I'm not going to ask you again. Please. Angus, are you
So
looking at the same plan that's on the screen?
the only
Here, I have it side by side.
the only thing that's different is that cobblestone in front of the areaway is noted in the application that
Okay,
was
but-
in our packet tonight.
But the layout is consistent.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
just
what-
wanted to make sure we're all on the
What
same
this
page.
is hardscape, it's pulled into the middle of the green space instead of compact to one side. This is added, and then in my plan, it shows another bit here, but all of this is on a slope uphill. So it's not like you know, it goes off the road and then you don't see anymore. It's all very up front and visible. So I am a lot more comfortable with the previous approval than this one. I think that this really takes another huge whack out of what was a green space and now it's just hardscaping. I do appreciate the use of cobblestone as opposed to brick for the runners. And I understand the need for a 20-foot space as opposed to a 17-foot space, but two strips of that is different than pulling it further out into the yard and adding more hardscape beyond it. Thank you.
Thanks, Angus. Connie? Oh, hold on a moment. We have a neighbor. Please identify yourself for the record. Thank you.
Kevin Toth of 128 Main Street. So my family and I here, we live at 128 Main Street. Just want to thank HDC staff and commissioners for all your time and efforts on this. It's been quite a long road with this. It's extremely frustrating to see that this is back on the agenda to be rehashed yet again when the HDC has made itself extremely clear that, and I quote Commissioner Pohl from when this additional driveway was last denied, 1 car is okay, but 0 cars is better. Additionally, in their motion at the last meeting, this was in the motion and it still hasn't been followed. The commissioners very clearly requested to see 3 legible site plans side by side on 1 sheet. It's causing all sorts of confusion. They've been terrible, the applications. That's getting absurd. It's supposed to have the original application for the hardscape, what is currently there, and the proposed plans. We have never had that to this day. That has still not been provided. This is just confusing at best. So thankfully, staff comments from Holly, Ms. Backus provide plans and background on the complicated development and reflect that these plans are still inappropriate. Less than a year ago in September, the applicant's proposed additional driveway with dimensions of 9 by 20 feet was denied by the HDC. That's what you're seeing right here. What is being proposed here is even worse, as it is not only 9 by 20, but even longer due to the additional hardscaping at the end. When this new Main Street driveway was approved, after extensive review by the HDC, it was expressly approved on the condition that it be just for 1 car. That vote was carried unanimously. The HDC rejected the applicant's original request to have 2 spots and approved no more than 1 parking spot in the side yard along Main Street. Nevertheless, the applicant has continued to try to extend this into the yard in one form or fashion. Last year in September, there was a motion to also deny when they tried to extend it up into the yard. The HDC doesn't approve of this, the select board doesn't approve of this, and the neighbors don't approve of this. So I don't know why we're still talking about this. The reasons the HDC stated for not approving anything larger than the 1 car spot are even stronger today. As Commissioner Oliver noted in the last meeting when this was discussed, I just think it's rather complicated with all these things going on. We couldn't agree more. As a reminder, this applicant voluntarily subdivided up this lot, so you can't really feel bad for them here. We all know that there's an existing driveway and a garage that have been used by 126 Main for over a century and could continue to be utilized. It's funny that you mentioned our driveway on the other side, the easement. Yeah, we share it with 4 families, so you could do the exact same thing on the other side. The construction crew of the front house and the back house have used it since construction began years ago, so it seems like it's totally fine. Commissioner Paul stated that this is really probably the only thing that sticks out the most to him as being inappropriate on the entire property development. He also flagged that it's really half the depth of what of that lot would be hardscape, and to imagine that all as hardscape is really hard to comprehend. It feels just overwhelming. It's unfortunate there's a driveway at all, to be honest. Commissioner Patton echoed Commissioner Paul and noted that this is just inappropriate and there should be 1 car max. As Chairman Welch noted in May, this is far too extensive and the context of the history of this project is relevant. He also highlighted that the concerns about this being filed as a new application, which takes the history and context out of the record, which is clearly not shown here. He noted problematic given the amount of time that the HDC put into this project. He stated the driveway discussion on the original property in the subdivision was that there wasn't going to be parking on this side of the structure. As Commissioner McLeod commented, the character and setting has been altered, and I think that this proposal would only make that worse. Chairman Welch also pointed out that this is inappropriate in light of all the other changes going on there. He mentioned that this would look odd and having the additional parking overburdens the lot and the front parking should not be altered from what was previously approved. As Commissioner Camp said when this was last denied, we should just stick to the original driveway. And we have had almost every single commissioner speak on this, and no one supports it. Multiple describe this as an ocean of hardscape. We would ask that the HDC just please stick to its original decision and not allow these alterations that would not only undermine but also amend both of the HDC's prior decisions. This is an unfortunate waste of everyone's time to be asking the HDC to change its well thought out decision and approve 2 parking spaces in the yard of a property facing Main Street. We speak more for, more than just for us and our neighbors. Just ask the HDC to please, stick to its original decision. Thanks.
Thank you. Linda, hold on. You know what? We're gonna proceed with the meeting, and this isn't a litigation. So let's not get caught up in he said or she said. Who is, can you, Mark, can we get your street address to begin with?
128.
126, Mark has his.
We're at 126. He's 128. To the left on that map up there.
No, Mark, on the screen with his hand
Mark has
raised.
comments.
Are we letting him in?
Just trying to talk.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm the owner of 126, and I too would like to thank the commission for all their work and time to get it right. For the record, my wife and I, we live in a 300-year-old home that we've preserved, and so I would consider ourselves preservationists. And using some of the words that the commissioners have referenced in prior approvals, we're simply trying to get a driveway approved for the front house. It is a distinct property from the rear house. We may or may not own the rear property in the future. It is true that I've got an elderly mother-in-law and a goddaughter who I'm trying to get in and out of the front residence with ease. I take issue with some of the adjectives that have been used: odd, overburdened, an ocean of hardscape, unfortunate waste of time. I think those are unfortunate terms. We're simply trying to get egress into our property for groceries, for guests, for family in a reasonable way. As Chip Stahl referenced, the entirety of Main Street from the bank all the way up to upper, like every property has what I would describe as a sea of hardscape. We listened to the commission. We've added more greenery. We are being very sensitive to not only the island, but also Main Street. We are preservationists. I don't think anything that we are asking for is substantially different than what was previously approved. And, we respectfully hope that the commission be thoughtful and reasonable on this most recent vote. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Connie?
So I'm going to start out positive. I think that the cobble with the grass center is much more appropriate. But that being said, I still am concerned about the amount of hardscape, the 3 added feet of the driveway from 17 to the previously approved 17 to 20. And also the added brick landing, that's all just adding to an already, I think, over hardscaped piece of property. I appreciate that there's been added plantings and, ways to try to mitigate this. But I just go back to, I think, what we previously approved was much more appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. Bill, did you go?
Haven't gone yet. Having the plans side by side, I'm struggling with the negative commentary on this, and having spent an inordinate amount of time going up and down Main Street and looking at every single different driveway, which is every single different combination of materials. I think it's a whole lot of fuss. And with the exception of the herringbone little landing at the end, which could just be plain brick, maybe make the whole thing brick and put cobble in the middle and call it a day. I'm fine with this.
Thank you, Val. So this is where I am with it. You know, my druthers, let's rewind the time machine, retrospective approval is that the driveway on the left as you're facing the house would be cobblestone paths, 2 lines. Very, going back to the house in the back, not this expanse of brick. The brick is formal. It goes to appearances to just to the back. Whereas if they were flip-flopped and you use the cobblestone tract on the left and you use the brick on the right, the brick is a formal presentation for a formal structure. Now, we're not there. So where I am with this is that I think what strikes me as two items. One is a technical matter. I would want to see a section no matter what happens, unless the original approval obviously is installed.
What do you mean by section, Steve?
Hold on a second. I'm going to get there. To understand what how this grading is going to work. Is this going to be a plateau or is this brick area going to be a continuation of the angle of the grade as you drive up from the street? I think it has relevance. I think it has less relevance if the material that is used as the landing is cut back somewhat to the planting bed. And number one. Number two, it becomes cobble. And number three, overall, for me, this wouldn't be solid cobble packed tight like Main Street. This would be the type of cobble path tracks where you have some grass growing up in between them. And it is a much more understated presentation. But now you see, Chip, why I'm saying, gee, wouldn't it be more appropriate if it was on the left side of the house? Because it has a better, it fits historically. Down the street towards town, into further down into the lower numbers on Main Street, there is just such a stone path that goes quarter mile path? Which this driveway the driveway on the left would be more reminiscent of, as opposed to having it be this left to right, full length, almost, 3/4 length of the lot brick. I don't know where we are with any of that. It might be too late. It might be something no one else is interested in. But for me, if this is going to be approved, the landing needs to be cut back. And I think most, if not all of it, needs to be cobble. And also the cobble needs to be separated so it's not having as much of a visual impact. We originally talked about this being a underground material that supported a car and having it be grass.
Oh, that was for the second space.
Second.
That was a second space.
On a second. The depth has been extended in order to accommodate the requirement for a second car. The hardscape has been extended or joined, more accurately, in order to accommodate the select board's request for a second car. Correct?
No. I'm the one who did the select
just
board
the
thing.
select
No,
board
it's one
request.
space. What they had a problem with is that it was 17 feet and a couple of them said it would overhang the walkway. One space was presented to them and that's one space, but it was 9 by 20 is what they sent us back with, which is why we're back
Okay,
here.
hold on a second. Oh, thank you. But earlier, Chip, you said the select board requested 2-car parking.
No, you're required to
Linda.
have them.
No.
He
the
didn't
select
do it.
board-
I did it.
The select board does, yes, by their bylaws, they require 2-car parking. We are going to be going to the select board requesting
One.
one.
Okay.
And in doing so, they said 9 by 20 instead of 9 by 17.
Okay, so that's going to bring up my last point. I don't think it's appropriate that this would be a 13-foot wide apron, including the curb, the granite quarter rounds, which are.
That was approved, Steve.
Linda, oh my God.
I'm just saying it was
My head
approved
is gonna
before.
explode.
It was approved
Please stop.
before.
Please stop. I'm making comments based upon what's in front of me. As I sit here today, having experienced life in the months that have happened between the last time we were here and now, and maybe changing my perspective.
Okay.
So please let me finish. My concern is that at 13 feet wide, the car that will be on the left and the car that will be on the right, this doesn't really open up enough of a space to appreciate. You're gonna have to rubberneck if to look in there and see there's any green space. For me, the benefit of these off-street parking situations is that it creates a vista, not a vista is obviously an overly broad term, but it creates a line of sight to look into the yard space, whereas before there would just be a car parked bumper to bumper, parallel parking on the street. This opens up a little bit of a line of sight, and to me, it's always been kind of a trade-off, a fairer trade-off, that we could see into the yard, that it broke up some of the cars along the road. At this tiny little space, I think it needs to be, the apron portion on the roadside needs to be a total of 15 feet, and then it'll come into the 9 feet cobblestone track. But at 13 feet, you're basically gonna have this tiny little alleyway to look up between bumpers. There's no benefit, I think, to the public.
So you're suggesting 15 feet
At the street side,
the street
not
side.
widening the
And
driveway.
9 by 20.
All right,
And
we were
also,
here
Linda,
before.
I am not gonna
Linda.
ask you again, Linda,
Linda,
I'm
Linda.
not gonna ask you
All right, then
again.
he needs to say it. We were here with 15 feet before and you said no.
Okay, guys, we're gonna call this and we'll pick it up at the next meeting. Thank you. All right.
That's ridiculous, Steve.
Can you get a motion to hold for the next meeting, please?
So moved.
Thank you. On your motion,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Angus.
Aye.
Al,
Aye.
and I'll vote.
Something like this is helpful with it.
Yeah, well, which is what we asked for.
Yeah.
Can I step in?
Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Ray?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are now on, if I'm not mistaken, to old business of August 25th, correct?
Yes.
That is correct.
Correct, yeah. First item of which is 19R Hooper Farm. Reed hopefully is there in the audience. I believe he is.
Mr. Chair, he is online and.
Oh, online. Okay, fine. Thank you, Kathy. Here's the board. Myself, Angus, Abby, Stephen. Oh, interestingly, I have 6 people
Oops.
listed as regular members, so that ain't quite right. Can we correct that?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Hang on one second, sir. Ah. I got a little overzealous with the sitting board.
I got a feeling that maybe Connie might be an alternate.
I have it right here. It is you, Ray, Stephen, Val, Abby, and Joe.
Perfect, thank you. Thanks, Fiona.
Fiona, I want to recap that. Myself, Abby, I got Abby, Stephen, correct? Joe. Angus is the other one?
No, Val.
So is the agenda incorrect?
Hang on one second, let me just,
So the sitting board from what 19 Hooper Farm brought in, it was Ray, Stephen, Val, Abby, and Joe.
I have from my notes, Ray, Abby, Stephen, Joe, and Connie. Let me see if that was,
And that's not what's on the agenda.
Val was missing
I'm
that.
gonna go get some
Hang
water.
on one second, Val was missing that meeting. That was July 28th. She was absent that meeting.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I can maybe help clarify.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yes, so to reiterate what Kathy just said, Val was missing the previous meeting.
Okay, so Val's out, but then we have the question of Connie or Angus, correct?
On my agenda, I have
Yes.
Gary and Connie
You have
as
Connie.
the alternates.
Oh, well, no, let's not talk about alternates right now.
No,
Regular
no.
board. Myself,
What is it?
Mr. Chair, I have you, Abby, Stephen, Joe, and Connie. No Angus.
That jives with prior after.
okay,
Stepped
I
down.
like it. Let's run with it, all right? Okay, now that we've established
Sorry
the
about that.
board, Reed, what can you tell us?
I just requested to share if,
Thank you.
You're all set, Reed.
great, thank you. Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Reed Unor. I'm here representing 19R Hooper Farm. Before I begin, I just want to give a little context to our submission history here. This is my third time before you with this application, but it is our first round of revisions due to a request for additional information on the first round. So this is the first round of revisions that you're hearing tonight. And with that, I will begin describing the changes. So in general, the commission's thoughts were the buildings, or the concerns were the building scale as well as the sort of distinction or character of the structure itself. This is the site plan of which we have not changed the location of the building, and I will speak to that as we discuss the other context that has been previously brought into the conversation. In terms of the structure itself, the revisions that have been made are primarily focused on reducing the scale of the structure, and those include reducing the eave height of the structure by 18 inches, bringing in the dormers from the gable ends by about 6 inches, and integrating the frieze board of the dormers with the head casing of the windows, which allowed us to reduce that dormer eave height by an additional 6 inches, bringing the gross reduction to 2 feet. I hope you followed that. I apologize if that wasn't clear. And what that also does is increase the contact point, or the distance of contact point between the dormer and the ridge. The other more aesthetic revisions that were made were there was a ask for an increase in fenestration, particularly on the front of the structure. Rather than increasing window size, I increased the number of windows to present a more typical 5-bay structure. The window casings, or sorry, the door casing was increased to a 1x6. We've added a window on the secondary massing, and the side door of the secondary massing has been changed to a 2-panel with 6 lights above, as opposed to a full 9-light door. Hopefully that presents, in your opinion, a more traditional secondary door condition. As far as revisions to the other faces of the building, they are consistent with, the structural changes in regards to the eave height of the dormer, the eave height of the main mass, and the overall ridge height, which again has been reduced by 18 inches. The other comment that was made was in regards to the alignment of the second floor windows. The windows on the gable ends were above the windows of the dormers. That has now been made consistent. So when it comes to the streetscapes, which have been the primary focus of this conversation in this application, I want to point out a few things here. One is that there was a comment made by Commissioner Welch about questioning the orientation of the structure. I want to just make a note about Cartwright Place, considering this is a corner lot, which is a dead end. And while I completely respect that that's a public way, and it will be, it can be seen from Cartwright Place, I think Hooper Farm is the primary sort of concern for impact on the public way, as that's really, the traveled way along the street. So with that in mind, we decided to keep the orientation of this structure because it provides the farthest distance that the ridge exists from that street, from Hooper Farm, if you will. The structure itself is about 107 feet from Hooper Farm. And if you take a look at the revised streetscape, which is, reflective of our diminished scale, I think that in combination with the reduced scale of both the ridge and the dormer height, when considering the perspective of a 24-foot tall structure that's set back about 107 feet from a road, I think that this produces a less impactful scale to the streetscape than if it was perhaps rotated 90 degrees and the gable end was closer to the Hooper Farm Road location, or street, if you will. And so the only really other details I want to point out is that due to our height reductions, the eave of the dormer for the structure in the rear is now below the ridge height of the structure that exists on 17, again, that has been already approved. Excuse me. And what was also asked for was a more comprehensive landscape plan of these three properties. And, another comment I would like to make in regards to the perimeter plantings that are shown and the foundation plantings that are shown is while these properties were divided at the same time, they are all acting as independent properties. And of course, context is important. But I would like you just to consider that these are, although the scale is increased, that is, defined by zoning, and these are three distinct individual properties that are acting on their own. And so with that, I will end my comments and open up to yours. Thank you very much for taking the time to hear me.
Okay, Reed, thank you very much. Very thorough, thanks. Who's ready to begin the discussion?
I'll go.
Thanks, Stephen.
So I appreciate the modifications. I still think the structure in the rear is too tall. What's the interior height on the ceiling height there, Reed?
The interior height is 9 feet. And part of that is, just to give some context, is we have a unit in the basement. So due to utility and ductwork infrastructure, we're looking for a little bit more room above the windows to run some of those systems. So it's not purely aesthetic, is I guess my only.
I mean, I think the aesthetic determination, that's up to the HDC. The aesthetic for me is that it's too tall. The concept of utilities in the basement, a deeper basement gives you more ceiling height below grade and room to run your utilities, as we all know, mechanical systems, whatnot. Can we go back? The other thing is with the roof pitch, as the main roof pitch as it is, it's taller. And I think, look, this is a fine structure pretty much anywhere on Nantucket, including at this location, but for the density and the modification of the character. And I know that really wasn't a concern for many commissioners at the last meeting, but I would encourage you all to take a drive by the property. And can we go back? Yeah, here. When you're on Hooper Farm Road and you drive by this, and it is not a reflection on Reed's design, it's not a reflection on the individual homes, but this looks like a very large structure with an identity crisis that's fighting to get out of a bag. There's like punching holes here and coming out here and there. It just consumes the lot, whether one is 100 feet from Hooper Farm or 120, which I think I heard 120, but it's very close to being the rear of that other lot. In any event, you see nothing but structure as you go by this. There is no structure in the foreground, structure in the background, no relief, no visual relief in the open space between the structures. It has dramatically changed the character of that neighborhood, number one. Number two, I think that the height of this plays into that in a negative way, and it should come down a foot at the top plate in order to lower the roof even further by a foot. Number three, I understand the legal concept of separate ownerships in LLCs, but this is a subdivision of land that's being developed. And I believe that the HEC should be looking at a comprehensive landscape plan for this structure. I realize we approved these structures previously, but I'm not aware that we approved hardscapes. And I think that specimen and deciduous street tree and specimen type plant material are ultimately what's going to make this site anywhere near approaching successful, because masking can occur through strategic locations of such plant material, whereas just leaving it up to individuals who are working as a group or not is highly problematic and tends to be incredibly less successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Who's next?
I can go. It's
Okay, Connie. Yep.
So I appreciate the changes. I think architecturally this is appropriate, but as I stated in the last go around, I was always concerned about the density of this lot. There's a lot of structures, and if there's any way to mitigate, and as Stephen had pointed out, to bring this down, I think that would help. It's just kind of taken over in this lot. Even though individually owned is still, there's a lot of structures. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Connie. Who's next?
I can go,
Uh,
Mr. Chair.
That was Stephen. That's Abby.
It's Abby. And so can you remind me which structures on this lot we have okayed? Everything, this is the last one? Hopefully. Everything else is.
Mr. Chair, would you like me to answer that question?
Yeah, I know the
Yes.
answer.
Yes, the structure that's shown in the top right, if you will, as it relates to the image shown on screen, is the final structure. Everything else is approved.
Okay, so, well, so that this is our last chance to do something nice to this site. I find the architecture is fine. I mean, it's only 25 feet, but what I'm having trouble with is on Cartwright, that now there are two buildings on Cartwright that don't face that road. And I find that sort of, not very friendly. So I'm wondering if the orientation couldn't be, you're going to have to redesign the house and make it not as wide, but to turn it 90 degrees and have it face Cartwright and just reconfigure this, not too much, but so that something is on Cartwright. So Cartwright has a face to this development. The other thing that worries me is that I'm not sure what the pitch is on that main mast, but it almost looks like a 12 and 12, which I'm not really sure that that's appropriate for this neighborhood. The 8 and 12 is good on the subordinate structure, but the main structure seems steep. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Abby. Joe, I think that leaves you.
Yeah, it does. I definitely think it makes sense to drive by and look at this. I've done a slow drive by, oh geez, at least a half a dozen times. And it's funny, at first it's like, wait a minute, this is the property that we were just talking about. And then, really paid attention to it. I think that the scale out there, in my opinion, feels pretty good. I guess once 17 comes into play, those structures aren't up yet, but the existing ranch that's in the back, and then the two structures that are on the corner, which are now framed and plywooded, they look as bad as they'll ever look. And the scale, I think, looks good. The story and a half structure that is approved and the single story structure. I know we're talking about the one in the back, and I was definitely in the camp that the front should face this side street here. Is it Cartwright? And
Cartwright.
yeah, but driving by a number of times, it's occurred to me that the space, the distance that exists on this site plan between the rear of that front house on the corner and then the revised front elevation of this house, that distance is enough that you actually will see this front facade as you drive down Cartwright. And I think if the house were to rotate, for instance, 90 degrees, not that anybody was necessarily suggesting that, but if it were to rotate, I think it would really start to feel crowded. And now we've got some breathing space. And you'd see a front door, but you would see the building, you'd see it obliquely. And with the building in its current orientation, I think as you go down Cartwright, you're actually going to look in and see the front of the building, and those definitely exist in town on Cliff Road. There are some buildings that are rotated to the street, and then you get a glimpse down into the front of the building, which, by the way, I think has greatly improved with current revisions. All that said, I think it'd be very easy to lower the height of this building just by changing the roof pitch, which I think was alluded to. Either a 10 pitch or an 11 pitch. You wouldn't even have to change the ceiling height. You'd probably come down a foot plus anyway, which I think would be a help. And then now the other thought I had after the last meeting, and then looking at the floor plan, was whether or not, should there be a front door on the gable end with a little roof over it so that there is a nod to Cartwright. And after looking at it, I backpedaled on it, but I'm putting it out there because I think somebody suggested, maybe it was Abby, that it might be a redesign to make a front face Cartwright, but I actually think the current rotation of the plan works for the reasons I mentioned earlier, but there might be an easy way to convert one of those windows to a door, and maybe there is actually an entrance off the side without altering the floor plan. And then you would have something that's addressing the street. And I think that and lowering the height of the building, you'd probably be there. So I'm in the minority, I think, in that I think this is approvable as is, just by lowering the height a little bit, you'd be there. But maybe it's one of those situations where you've got an option that you bring to the table and we discuss it. But I appreciate the varied scale of buildings that's here. It is dense, but I think the zoning supports it, and we're not looking at 4 or 6 two-story buildings. I appreciate that. That's it. Thanks.
Okay, Joe, thank you. I think that it's unfortunate for this application is being scrutinized to a level that I don't recall any of the other buildings being scrutinized, simply because it's the last one. I think it's unfortunate that Reed is representing all of the buildings on all 3 lots. If they all had different ownership, I think the perception of this thing would be way different. Reed, can you answer a question for me?
Yes, sir.
On the site plan that I'm looking at right now, Cartwright, does it literally end at the back end of the building under, the one that we're reviewing?
Yeah, it turns into sort of a nebulous gravel driveway / parking lot area. It's not a throughway.
It's not a throughway. So I think, to Joe's point about the quote unquote front door, because nobody's driving down there, I think this idea of looking across the parking area obliquely at what is clearly absolutely the front door of the house, as opposed to putting a little imitation one on the gable end, just so that we can say that it's literally facing Cartwright. I think this is all being taken far too literally. This building, in my opinion, has been approvable as designed. So again, I'm in the minority. I think a lot of things are happening. A lot of discussion is being made about the density and things like that, visually we're under control of that, but we should have scrutinized the buildings that were on Hooper Farm Road more than the one that we're scrutinizing right now. Those are my comments. What to do, folks?
Motion to hold for revisions.
Okay. On Stephen's motion, Abby?
Oh, I want to amend that, and a hardscape plan.
Okay. hold for revisions plus hardscape plan. On on that motion, Abby,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Connie,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Okay, Reed,
All
there you
right,
are.
thank you very much.
Yep. 39 Orange Valley, are you repping this?
I'm
Yes.
going to introduce Matt Ryder, who's the architect,
And is he,
and he
Um,
should be on,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
and I think he wants to,
Green chair.
yeah.
Okay.
well, that's good.
So
The
while we're
board-
waiting, I'll just do a little, oh,
No.
you have to say who's
Well,
on the board. Go
yes.
ahead.
Myself, Angus, Stephen, Connie, Joe. There you go.
Okay.
Matt, you're logged in twice. Do you mean to be?
Let me text.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
You're logged in twice, so.
Who's ever controlling? If you could let the other one of me in as well. I'm on a laptop and a cell phone.
Okay,
So if I
stay-
could screen share, that would be great.
Okay, stand by.
Okay.
Thank you so
Well-
much.
Well, while Matt is getting set up, I had a couple of comments or questions. Today I was wondering, and I couldn't get a succinct answer. What percentage of a structure needs to be saved to make a distinction between a demo and an addition / restoration alteration? We couldn't find any of that information anywhere. I reached out to Kathy and she couldn't find any either. So that's just one question at the beginning of this, but we read Holly's comments. And Matt and I discussed some possible changes that you might like, but we'd like you to look at the presentation with him and discuss it. And at the end, we'll show you perhaps what may be a solution.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair, through you to Val, maybe Holly knows the answer.
Yeah,
I didn't
maybe.
know if it was about tonight's agenda.
It's a seriously
Okay.
good question. I'd love to
Yeah.
know the answer myself. Um,
With that,
okay.
Matt, take it away.
Thanks so much, Val. Thank you, board, for the time today. This is our second time in front of you for 39 Orange Street. We are working on the barn space in the rear, as you can see on the bottom portion of the picture here. On the top, that is the main structure of the house right off of Orange Street. As a reminder, as we go to the locust plan, just want to help you guys cite this. So main structure is right here off of Orange, and the secondary structure barn is back here at the back corner of the lot. If anybody had a chance to walk the site, it is not visible from a public way and is really tucked into the middle of this block off of Orange as well. From our last time here in front of the board, there was a lot of comments about trying to bring in some of the existing architecture of the historic barn. So we took those comments to heart and want to show you the updated exterior elevations and where we landed on that. So the first thing we did was update the window designs. The existing barn has really small divided lights and then are all casement or awning windows. So we updated all the exterior elevations by getting rid of the double hungs and incorporating smaller light 24 light windows as casements or awnings around the facade. Previously on the south facade, we had an exterior chimney and French doors on either side. We took the staff comments and removed the chimney, moved the fireplace inboard so there'll no longer be a masonry mass on the exterior, and replaced the second floor smaller windows with, again, the 24 light casements as an homage to the barn window styles. Down below, we took the French doors and again incorporated those smaller lights into there and replaced the chimney mass with a trellis system. One additional note we took from the original barn was we wanted to match the existing rake and fascia details, and as well as incorporate similar overhangs onto the facade as well. You can see on the exterior elevations, one of the comments was trying to illustrate what is going to be existing to remain and what is going to be proposed, kind of teeing off on Val's original comment on kind of that percentage between what is considered a demo versus an addition reno. So on this front facade, just this little corner would technically be a lower portion of the wall that could be retained and built on top of. The front addition obviously will be all new, so that's what we're looking at here. And then we are raising the top plate of the original lean-to, which is the space that's being shown up above here. On the back facade, you can see here again, the dashed line illustrates the existing barn facade that we are again building on top of and raising the top plates all around. One of the comments we received from Val, which I thought was helpful too, was utilizing the existing roof pitch and bringing that into the new roof on the second floor here. To again try to pick up as many of the architectural cues from the existing barn and bring that into the new space as best we can. The remaining two elevations you can see here, we replaced what was originally a 8-light, 3/4 light pattern carriage style door with full-size doors, again as a little bit of an homage to the original barn. You can see here again the highlighted yellow and then the clouded red delineating what is new versus what is technically existing to remain and being built upon. And then on the final elevation, previously we had a roof overhang with corbels. We've removed that. As you can see, we've updated the window muntin pattern again, as well as the door, and then tweaked the exterior fascia and rake details to again try to be an homage to the original barn. We were hoping this would be seen as the board as a good contribution to bring the barn back into the new structure. And then a little later in the game, we were corresponding with Val on some additional ideas that we could sketch through and possibly incorporate. And some of those were bringing some of the original windows back into the carriage style barn doors in the lean-to. Lowering the pitch, lowering the top plate on the roof to get rid of the shingles above the existing, the proposed windows up above, which we're happy to do. And then on the other two elevations, one interesting thought that we love the board's take on too is as we build out the addition, we were curious about if we were to incorporate either trim or some kind of a massing element as almost an homage outline to the original barn into the new structure, if that would appease the board in a sense of not completely, losing the character of the original barn and then building upon it, but still having that homage to the facade through a detail like that. Val, is there anything else you would like to add?
Well, I was thinking that main gable mass from the barn would be maybe become a porch or an overhang in front of the facade, and to try and reuse some of the barn door in front of the French doors in some way and keep a piece of the original shed. That's the only side that you could possibly see, which I don't think you can from Plum Lane, I think. Yeah. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Kathy, is there anybody with their hand raised? I don't see anyone.
No, I was just being proactive.
Oh, okay, all right, just curious. Any questions for the applicants? Board members? Hearing none, why don't we move straight to commentary? Hello,
I have a question.
Stephen.
What's the overall height and what was it reduced?
The overall height of
The
this structure is 23 feet 5 inches.
Okay. And did you reduce that? I didn't pick that up in the comments. I apologize if you stated that.
No, so we received one of Al's comments later, and it was mostly about reducing the height to get rid of the shingle course above the window. So we're happy to do that, and that that'll bring that down 6-7 inches.
Just to be clear, you're happy to do it or you did it?
We have not, it is not being reflected in the drawings, but we're happy to do it
Okay,
as a revision.
thank you. And can we go to the site plan, please?
Of course. The locus or the site plan?
But why don't we start with the sheet and then the site plan, yeah? Do you have a drawn out plan showing it? The proposed location with dimensions there we go. I thought I saw that in there. Okay. Yeah, so I think, what the hell, 7 inches off the top, and I'm good with it. I appreciate the changes. Thank you.
Okay, Stephen, thank you. Who's next?
I could go.
Angus.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess I was hoping to see revisions that recognize the existing historic structure more than this. It really is. I mean, it begs the question: if a historic building isn't seen, does it exist? And we have a 130-year-old building, and all of its character-defining elements are being eliminated with this proposal. The height is changing, the volumes are changing, the fenestration's changing. It really begs the question, what is left? And from the clouding, you can sort of it's so dramatically being altered. It's not following any of the standards that are our guides, with building it with Nantucket in mind, and the Secretary of Interior Standards. So this is not an addition. It's an intent to build a building, and what do we have to do with the old one to make it work? And it's not appropriate in my mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Angus. Who's next? Connie, Joe.
I can go.
Thank you, Connie.
So, I have to admit, I walk this street every day in Plum Lane, and I tried to peek and see this building, and unfortunately, I didn't. I wasn't able to see it from either Orange or Plum. But that being said, looking at this structure that's proposed, it doesn't at all resemble what is there presently, the historic barn or whatever we're calling it. Architecturally, it's appropriate, but I still am saddened by the fact that we have lost, what is there, and for to put up a secondary or a guest house. Anything that can be done to bring in more of the architectural elements of the barn would be greatly appreciated, as you had alluded to outlining it, what was there. I think that would be a positive. Bringing it down would definitely be a positive. And again, anything that can be done, I think would help move this along in my mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. Joe?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the visibility is of this. It sounds like it's minimal, but I think Angus makes a great point. If we have a historic structure and you can't see it, does it exist? Well, I would say that it definitely exists. And I think taking an approach where you're working with the existing conditions more would be appreciated. I mean, for instance, even as something as simple as what's labeled as the shed, that little lean-to, like, does that really need to change? Maybe it comes up 18 inches because it has a foundation under it, but that portion of it seems like it could remain. And the outline of it looks really small here, but the photographs make it look like it's taller, but so it might just be deceiving. I do think that generally the approach that this should feel like an outbuilding that has a more utilitarian detailing versus emulating the details of the house. I think that's appropriate and on the right track. I do think that there's some, and this might be, a little nitpicky, but the rake board trim on the dormers and on the lower pitch just feels heavy compared to the trim on the main gable. And the dormers are, I think, 3 pitches, which feel really flat, and the proportions of that just feel off to me. I appreciate that there's no chimney on here. I just would really, this is a demolition of this structure, and I mean, maybe it's a demo reconstruction and use materials of it. I just don't see how this could be interpreted as an addition to this structure. I think that's unfortunate. I think the structure itself as a new building, the scale feels okay. The details I think should change, but I feel like we ought to be talking about whether or not this structure is significant enough that it should be saved, or if there's a way to reuse the materials in a different way, like shutters on this building and some of the vernacular, the overriding detail, I think character defining detail on the existing structure are those oversized bluish doors with the they have windows in them, I think. Yeah, those 2 details, I feel like if those were brought back on this, you're bringing back the spirit of the structure. But at the moment, I feel like the spirit of the structure is gone and the structure is gone. So I'd like to hear Holly speak on this if possible. I know that we don't want to get in the habit of having her reiterate, but I think hearing the discussion and then responding to it, we may get some valuable insights hearing Holly's comments on this. That's all I have for now.
Okay, Joe, thank you. Holly, you want to interject?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commission. So our design guidelines reference Secretary Interior standards. I believe I counted about 18 different times when it comes to demolition. And at the end of the day, building with Nantucket in mind says an addition should preserve the building's historic character. So again, I ask, what is exactly being preserved with this addition? And I appreciate Joe's comments, because this is a demolition. This is something that obviously you all have taken heart and appreciate and have requested information on. And there are other places that dive deeper into definitions of demolition with percentages. And y'all, our special act doesn't get that granular, nor does building with Nantucket in mind. But you all, at the end of the day, have the authority to say no to a proposed addition and see what it is. Again, I think, as I had indicated in my comments, over the last couple of times, it should be clearer exactly what material is actually being retained, because at the end of the day, this historic barn is not there. This is a brand new building. I hope maybe we can dive into this a little bit more, which we will. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Holly. So, yes, this is a demolition and I don't see anything on this that pays any kind of homage to the existing building. So, and I believe most of the board members feel the same way.
Can I
Beyond
ask a
that,
question?
no.
Okay.
Hang on, please. Beyond that, I think if this were a new build and we weren't even discussing whether or not it was, a reno of an old building or a new build, I question like why are there 12 over 12 windows, no corner boards, 24 light French doors, windows that are like incredibly small in relation to the wall planes that they're set into. Why, to Joe's point, do we have these like super massive trims on the dormers and, very plain trim on the gable ends? I just don't think that this has really been thought through very well. That's it for me. What do you folks want to do?
I just have a question, Ray.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead, Val. Yep.
Was any of the ideas that I gave him that we showed you the very brief sketches working in the right direction?
Oh, it's really good because she was like wanting snack and I'm like, okay, where I go? Yeah,
Hey,
it's like
somebody
it's
has
really
to-
tasty.
Your eye needs
Who
to be
is
muted.
talking?
That's
Mute
your
your
eye. He
eye.
needs to be muted.
In fact, I want to jump over his application now. Okay, Val, go ahead.
I'm just asking, is this a direction I'm trying to point Matt in that is a better approach to?
Val,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so I didn't say anything about that. Like this little silhouette of the existing building, I don't think is right. I think somebody said, well, why are you raising up the the little L on the side? Why is that getting raised up and why doesn't it stay the same height? The, like keep it as a porch. And these are my comments. These are not board comments.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any thing they want to say with respect to Val's question?
I do.
I could.
Okay, Stephen, go.
I think, I was speaking on the structure earlier. I think there's relevance and it's appropriate. I think if this is what's going to be proposed, this should come back as a move off demo and then a application for replacement structure, number one. Number two, can we just get a comment on the visibility of this structure?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you can't see it.
Okay. So, I mean, I just, I don't need to remind my
Yeah.
cohorts, but I'm going to say it to remind myself. Our purview is what's visible from the street. And
Yeah.
I agree with Angus that it poses a rather difficult question, which is if it can't be seen, is it protected? But
Mhm.
there you have it, folks.
Okay.
That's a venue matter. But I
Do
do
agree.
think proper application procedures would be that this would be a demo. Actually, I want to correct myself. A move off demo. We don't want the perception to be that demo is the first thing. And then a replacement structure. I'm not suggesting that we'll get you any grounds, but I do think it's the proper approach. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Agree. Thank you. Can we have a motion then? And unless anyone has any further comments.
Mr. Chair, could I add something? It's Angus.
Angus, yeah, go ahead.
I think that it's possible to keep this structure almost, completely intact and have an addition that is a real addition, not going up and, really changing it, but like keep the overall spirit of it with its gable and its lean-to and add to the side of this rather than on top of it and like supersizing the structure itself. Because in that case, you lose the walls and the ceiling, the roof, all that. But also if it were going to get, altered, just for it to be reminiscent of have the character defining elements of the trim and the fenestration, the simplicity, all of that. It could be bigger, but respecting all those things more.
Okay.
I'd like to comment on this too, and then I'll make a motion.
Yeah, okay, great.
This image that's here, I saw that and I thought, oh, okay, this looks promising. And then I realized that relative to the site plan, the gable, the 2-story gable is actually the one that's filling the space of the yard. And so this literally is just a ghost image. And what occurred to me is that if this this, I guess, is in response also to what Angus just said. If this existing structure moved on site forward, and then there was a full 2-story addition behind it without even any dormers, then we actually have the real gable that's visible. It just changed location. Or even if it was the structure's moved and 50% of it remains, then the character defining element, the gable profile that we're seeing here, is actually the building. And then we have something behind it that's buffered. And if we can't see it, great. But we're adding an addition. Nobody said that the addition has to be subordinate to the existing structure. Sometimes the addition actually is larger than the existing structure, and maybe this is a case where that happens. And there's lots of examples of structures moving on site or rotating on site. I think taking a step back from it from a design perspective and looking at it with fresh eyes may actually, maybe you'll end up with a better second floor plan. Not that there's anything wrong with this one, if you had no dormers. And maybe it being screened by the existing structure allows that to happen. Those are just all hypotheticals, but generally speaking, I think there's probably a way to look at this by using more of the existing structure. Thanks. I'd make a motion to hold for revisions.
Okay,
Can I
great.
second that for discussion?
Yeah, go ahead.
You didn't sound too enthusiastic about that.
Go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, I think, and I agree with all the things Joe said. Number one, the concept of the move demo doesn't mean, one, it has to be demoed, or two, that has to be moved off site. I think there's a lot of validity in the comments he made. But I would ask Joe to, reconsider as opposed to revisions, because if they're going to retain this as an addition, retain the structure and do an addition, there may be a move, there may be some demo involved. And I would just ask that you consider the motion would include that the application would be recharacterized to accurately reflect the work proposed.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, actually.
Appropriate.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate. I would have amend my motion to include that this get essentially split into 2 applications, right? A move, a move demo of the existing structure and a proposal for a new structure. Or if the applicant does decide to proceed with this as a legitimate addition, then that motion is irrelevant.
Okay. Well, it's at the applicant's discretion, what we're talking about right now. It really is.
But a motion just to simply more accurately recharacterize the application, I think would cover all the ground that both of you are talking about without giving them a specific approach that they have to follow.
Okay. Well, I would amend
I
my
get it.
accordingly.
Is that your motion, Joe?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. On the motion, Angus.
Aye.
Stephen.
Aye.
Connie.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
And myself, aye.
Thank you.
Okay, now to 1 Cherry Street
Thank you.
before I run out of electricity. Myself, Abby, Angus, Connie.
Ethan's not here.
All right. So, Mr. Chair, Isaiah Truman is representing his project, not Ethan.
Okay, fine. I'm about to run out of juice. and I need to go find a power cord. So we either hurry up or you lose me.
Okay, well, thank you guys for hearing this this evening. Since our meeting 2 weeks ago, we made the changes you requested. We were able to drop the roof line on the proposed building a couple feet. We changed the dormer on the front or the side from a doghouse to barn dormer as requested. And we added one of the decorative windows on the gable end there. And those were the 3 changes requested. Thank you.
Okay. Isaiah, thank you. Let's see your board. Myself, Abby, Angus, Connie, correct?
And
Yeah.
Joe, oh, never mind. Yes, you're right.
4-person board, right?
Yes, yes, correct.
Okay, who's ready to begin?
I'm happy to start.
Thanks, Angus.
This is really starting to take shape. I appreciate the changes. One of the things on the east elevation, with I appreciate the switch to a shed. But it is a flush dormer. There's just maybe a piece of trim that separates the dormer from the wall below it. And I had suggested last time of just continuing that roof, the main roof that dormer's on, all the way to the east wall eave, which will make the dormer feel like it's set back, and to keep, the program up above it, and sort of simplifies the structure more. I think the additive massing of the garage there, really does help bring down that gable facing north to Williams. Typically, in this area wouldn't want the garage, right against the house, but in this situation, it reads more like a workshop shed kind of thing, part of the house. I appreciate the gable window addition on that side. When we looked at the landscape and in the last meeting and talked about the access from the parking into this building, and it seemed like it was really going to be more from this east side as opposed to going along Cherry Street. Even if there is a strip of land there, it wouldn't leave any room for buffer growth for vegetation or anything if it were taken up with a path, which would mean that you're going out into the road to get around to it. Or there isn't, it would be like hard structure right up to the path and road. So with that in mind, I kind of think that a shingled rail along the front of this, facing Cherry Street, would work better, so that there would be room for vegetation growing up against it, and have a little bit of a buffer to the front door and the porch. And then just, have the access come in from the sides, the east and west sides. And the only other thing that I brought up the last meeting that I didn't see a change with was the door on the west elevation that is really close to the facade, uncharacteristically so. So if that can move further north away from the facade, I think that's preferable. And the last but not least is it looks like there's extra space above the second floor windows, which I think would really help to bring down the feeling of the height of this building if that extra board above the head casings of those windows would go away. Maybe that's a sub rake and a fascia, but if that could just be simplified, maybe eliminated. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Angus. Who's next?
Could I'd like to go because I'd like to just clarify if Angus was saying on the east elevation, that doghouse, the doghouse dormer on the second floor, has that been changed to a shed?
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, fine. And I agree that anything you can do to the front of the building to sort of, soften the coming out that front door. I think Angus suggested, did you say a balustrade or did you?
Oh, a shingled half wall or,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that, just because it would, it seems like it would be safer. But in general, I appreciate the changes. It's a tough building because it goes up the hill, so anything you're going to do to build something is going to be higher, and it is going to sort of overwhelm the old little building right on Orange. So it's a tough situation, but I think we're there. I think we've yeah, I think this is acceptable.
Okay.
Thank you.
Abby, thank you. Connie.
I do appreciate the changes, and yeah, I feel this is appropriate. Thank you.
Okay, so Angus had made a few, this sounds like we might be able to do an approve through staff. I too like the parapet wall bit on the porch. I liked Angus's idea of bringing down so that we don't have that condition. It looks like that the head casings, and I could be wrong, on the second floor are a course or two of shingle below the eave, but I can't see the other. A neighbor has their hand raised. Okay, so let's go with the neighbor, Christine, but I'm probably going to lose power, just so you all know. Christine, go. No?
Hi, thank you very much for listening to me again today. I know we've gone back and forth a few times, and I really appreciate everybody's time. I'm going to speak on myself as well as other neighbors who have written letters and joined the call throughout this whole process. We simply are asking our neighbor to be mindful of the setting of this building, which is amongst the landmarked historic homes in a residential setting. We've asked that the door not be changed from the existing parking lot side to Cherry Street to face all of our residences and to not raise any safety issues for pedestrians and our drivers alike. We've asked for proper screening from our side, and we were asking that the entry be completely modified off of Cherry Street. In looking at the building that's on this proposal, the structure is going from a 384 square foot building to a 2,082 square foot building, not inclusive of the basement. This is 5.5 times larger without even factoring in the basement, a 550% increase in a residential setting. If the basement is built out, then the structure is going to be 8.5 times larger.
Christine, we don't evaluate basement square footage.
Fair. Okay. I just want to note that it's just such an overdevelopment for this single parcel of land, and it's going to be such a drastic change to the street. My fundamental question, I guess, is this current plot of land, how is it going to support something this large if today it's already spilling onto the street as it is with just
Again,
three?
you're talking
Okay.
about density things that you've discussed at other meetings. I appreciate you're not doing that.
Okay.
Anything else?
We would also ask if we could just see everything in context together, because we haven't seen an overall site plan to date that accurately represents all parking spaces that would actually meet code and be legal. We'd also love to see the ADA. We had talked briefly.
That's not germane to our review. That is not germane to our review. Please stick with what we're reviewing.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay, now we have another. It's John. John, you have comments on this? Yes or no?
Mr. Chair, I'm asking him to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. I appreciate your time. My name's John Dwecke. I live on Cherry Street and 5 Cherry Street. And first, definitely appreciate everyone being so focused on this and the structure and all the commentary and modifications that have been made to date. And just, from our side, my family side, wanted to mention a couple points that I think Christine has is that we live in a house that's built in 1772, and this historic nature of this house is what has driven us to the street, and we're just concerned and just understanding the whole total depth and size and scale of this house that's creating a structure that's almost 6 times larger than the existing one. Just doesn't seem to fit with the quaint historical nature of the street. And then the second point, which based on your commentary, might not be subject for this committee, but the safety aspect of it, especially with this entrance on Cherry Street, is going to create significantly more traffic on a street and parking along the street that can hardly control traffic speeds right now. Understand that might not be subject to this committee, but this congestion is something that does affect a nice, quaint, historical street. So I just those were just a couple points, and I sent a couple notes in before to this, but just was unable to speak and participate in one of these calls.
Very good. Thank you, John, for your comment. Okay. Now I was giving my comments. I agree with Angus on the parapet wall. I agree with the setback dormer on the second floor. So what's the pleasure of the board?
I could do all right, I'll make a motion to approve as submitted with the following changes.
Mhm.
And that would be to eliminate eliminate the sub rake and freeze so that it's just like, instead of a double trim, it's a single trim situation, and that'll bring the eaves down to the head casings of the window.
Okay.
And the extension of the of that east facing main roof, where that east facing dormer is, to extend all the way to the east wall. Big, just addressing the height impact of looking up the hill at the building, so that would bring the eave down. And the half wall along the Cherry Street side of the porch, the shingle wall.
Okay, so those three things that you've identified, Angus, would you mind putting those into an Exhibit A just so it's crystal clear?
That's what I'm proposing.
Very good. Okay, so if everyone understands the content of Angus's Exhibit A, I'm going to put this to a vote. On Angus's motion, Abby,
Aye.
Connie,
I,
Angus,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Thank you all. Angus, now the next application you are chairing, I believe, at One
Thank you.
Boyers Alleyway, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Are
I'm
we
gonna,
losing you, Ray?
well, I'm gonna run off. Give me a second. I'm gonna run off and try and find a power cord. Okay. So
Good luck.
ideally, so I'll be right back. Thank you,
Right.
Angus.
Thank you. So, One Boyers Alley, do we have representation?
It's gonna be a second.
It might just be a second. I'll go ahead and give you your board. It's myself, Ray, Abby, Val, Connie. And if we need an alternate, we've got Carrie and Joe. Fast, it's already up. While we're waiting, Holly, are you still with us?
Yes, sir, I am.
Could you please provide your comments before we head into this? Hopefully Ray will join shortly.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is an existing 1970s duplex. And it was the part of the Perry cottages back in the 60s, early 70s. Appreciate the reduction in height to the ridge from 29 feet 6 inches to 27 feet. Even with that reduction, it's still very large volume that's being added. Commissioner Oliver mentioned that there is, quote, know in the area of this stature and that the quote east fenestration is overly exuberant, end quote. I think there should be a proposed streetscape from both Boyers Alley and Pleasant Street. Both of these roads are historic. They predate our historic district and are both shown on the 1834 Coffin map and the 1858 Walling map. And of course, a part of the commission's purview. Seeing heights of other structures in relation to the proposed will be appreciated and appropriate. Appreciate the red line plans attached. What square footage is being retained was my comment. Again, this is kind of, we're doing an addition onto an existing structure, but the addition is quite large. It is a duplex. You're turning it from a duplex to a larger duplex, so maybe the context there is the same, but obviously the vernacular is changing. So those are my comments. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that, Holly. Ray, you're back. Great.
I'm
Any
back.
questions for the applicant? Seeing none, who would like to begin?
Oh, do I get to say what we did
Oh,
differently?
I'm so sorry. Please go ahead.
Or approval, whatever you guys prefer. Thank you. Ethan Griffin, behalf of the applicant. And thank you for Holly for kind of piquing our interest on the historical aspect of it. We did some additional coordination with the PIN students. They're doing another round of inventory in the area. So that was, you know, an eye-opening process. So to reiterate, it's a 1960s plus duplex. Historically, it did face Pleasant Street, so access has always been off Pleasant Street. And as part of sort of the PIN survey, you know, Boyers Alley's been on the map forever and still exists historically as a sort of like utility true alley. So there are no sort of front doors, if you will, that are on Boyers Alley. It's a utility type sort of way. Additionally, to Holly's point, we included a plan that kind of outlines the changes that we're making to Unit A, which is the Pleasant Street side. Unit B is essentially unchanged. We're removing a deck, but essentially all our work is focused on the Unit A. And we're really preserving, you know, all of the footprint of Unit A. We're just adding on to it. One thing I'd also just like to point out in regards to the height. So the existing structure is about 32 to 34 inches above grade. So it's elevated to begin with. So our structure is fundamentally higher from a ridge height to grade because of that. But by reducing the massing to 1.5 stories, which you see on the screen in front of you, it fundamentally has the stature of a house that's much smaller. But again, we're sort of starting at a higher height. And that's just sort of the reality of the existing structure. We have attempted to mitigate that, particularly on the Pleasant Street side, by lowering the entry door. So that door is in where we have the stair, so we're able to lower it relative to the floor height. So you take a couple steps up before you get to the main level. But just again, it's something we're cognizant of, and we're working to mitigate that to the best of possible. So to address the board comments from the last round, you know, we went from 2-story to 1.5 story massing. The windows previously were STLs. We're proposing wood TDL windows. We're really concentrating the fenestration towards the interior of the lot, which is sort of that northeast elevation. And then we added some additional site context to explain how, you know, the front door, we're maintaining that historical kind of front of the house addressing Pleasant Street, although the lot has, you know, fundamentally changed and been subdivided since then. So look forward to any comments or questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Who would like to begin? Thanks, Val.
Mr.
Go ahead.
Chair,
Oh, yes,
I
Ray.
just have a question. Can I see the other elevations? Okay. Thank you, Fiona.
Ray, did you have a question?
That was it. I just needed to see all the elevations.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Val, go ahead.
I appreciate the downsizing in the height a lot. To me, this 1.5 story vernacular is great in this neighborhood, and given the house that's in front of it, that's like a reverse salt box. It's probably in the same height category.
Correct.
Maybe-
Yeah, it's all
maybe
same
even
vicinity.
less. So that's good. My only comment on this round or revision is if you're looking at the west, which is facing Pleasant and we're going from left to right, the third mass in with the window and then the 6 light on top, both front and back, doesn't really need to be that high. There's nothing on that second level. It's for effect, probably cathedral light and all that. If that could drop down and eliminate, at least on the front, those 6 light on top of the windows, I think you're there.
Thank you for that, Val. Who'd like to go next?
I can go.
Go ahead, Abby.
Abby Camp. I I think at 27 feet, it's still too high for this area and quite a departure from the existing sort of long dormitory look. I think the 3 dormers are sort of jumping out at you and dominating the whole thing. I don't have an alternative, but I think if you bring the height down from 27, you might be able to tuck in just a 6 light. Sometimes on some of these antiques, you see just a 6 light under the eave. I'd just like to see it a little quieter on the front. I agree with Val about the sort of the 6/12s seem a little over the top for that neighborhood. I'm just concentrating on the front of the building. So and just in general, I'd like to see it come down a couple more feet so it fits into the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Abby. Who would like to go next? Yeah, so we've got Connie.
Connie and
We've
Ray.
got Ray.
Yeah. I generally agree with what's been said, Mr. Chair. It would be wonderful. I appreciate, excuse me, the fact that it's come down, but I would love if it would possibly come down a little bit more. Sorry. That's about it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Connie?
Yeah, I also agree with what's being said. For me, it's those 3 dormers that are kind of, even if something could have been done with those, maybe the height wouldn't be so obtrusive, but it's those 3 dormers on the front that are just kind of barking at me. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Connie. Okay, so that leaves me. I think that along Boyers, this is fairly appropriate. I appreciate the reuse of the existing structure and the sort of the stepping back and up as opposed to having a high face along Boyers. It seems more sort of appropriate for this alley. I'm still a little bit conflicted about this west facing facade that just basically faces the back of another house. And so it's not to me it's not reading the way it should as far as an entry and where it's oriented towards. I agree about the 3 dormers. It looks like the main roof could come down, the eave could come down to the meeting rails of those windows, and maybe they could be sheds instead of gables, or the gables can drop so that the rakes are touching the head casings, but they feel taller than I think they need to. The transoms over the 6/6s seem out of character there, and that eave seems high. So bringing that down, I think, would help. Those are my concerns. I mean, there's a lot of fenestration on the west side, the back side, but it's, I feel like all that is, or sorry, the east side is going to be invisible. So I'm not as concerned with that.
Can I make a motion to hold for a few more
You
revisions?
can on your motion.
I'm an aye.
Val? Oh, sorry. Ray?
He's talking, but
Oh,
hear him.
I think you're
Sorry,
muted, Ray.
I was muted, yeah. Aye, thanks.
Okay. Val?
Aye.
Connie?
Hi.
I'm an aye as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. 34 Washington Street. The board, myself, Angus, Abby, Stephen, Connie.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan Silva, representing the town of Nantucket for the new Harbor Master Building at 34 Washington Street. Starting on page 13 is the presentation I have for to review with you all today.
Are you manning the Zoom? What we're seeing?
I'm here in person.
Fiona is.
Oh, okay.
So
Sorry, continue.
Yep, starting on page 13, we've outlined the three elevations from the different submissions. So the top of the screen you'll see is the original elevation that was approved back in 2020. The one in the middle in yellow was the proposed revision to that approval that we were here last on the 28th of July. And then on the bottom is what we're proposing today as the revisions based off the comments we received from the commission. So I'd like to walk through each elevation face just so that we can point out the changes that we made. But overall, I think it's important to note that our takeaway was to kind of simplify the ornamentation that was brought upon the revisions that we were required to implement because of some of the value engineering changes that we made from the 2020 design. So I can walk through them starting with number one. We simplified the skirting around the main porch of the building and around the main porch and the entire building by just going with one singular approach, and that's just a vertical cedar slat all the way around. We removed the use of the lattice work that was around the lift, kind of underneath that gable, and we maintained one consistent approach to skirt that. Number two is we spaced out the ganged windows that are at the shed dormer. And then we abutted those windows to the frieze board that was as originally shown in the 2020 design. Number three, we replaced the double doors with a single door entry. And that was based off of us trying to simplify overall the composition of all the windows between the second and the first floor. So we removed that double door and did a single door with three 6-light windows that kind of aligned with the shed dormer windows that we have above that are now separated. Number four, just expanding upon that, we added those 3 windows below to align. Number 5, there was a comment specifically regarding the mechanical louver that we had at the gable over the wood sign that we have on the building, and that it was kind of distracting and taking away. So because it was required that we needed to have that there, we thought it was best to introduce a triangular gable louver that is cedar, so that it would blend into the cedar shake that's on that face as well. Number 6 is revising the quarter lights on the doors to a third. 7 is while the windows were previously approved in 2020 and we maintained the 8/12s in our previous submission, it was requested that we revert to a 6/6 or a 6-light window throughout the entire building, which is what we reverted to in this revision. And then number 8, just part of that simplification as well, we removed those the railing wall that was flanking the chairlift and just implemented a composite railing that match everywhere else that we have on the porch And we also removed that central post that we had in between each column bay that was requested as part of simplifying the railing. On the next page, looking at the south elevation, the primary change that you see here is that we removed the use of the lattice work that was concealing the mechanical units that are on this elevation, just as a way to simplify the overall approach and to keep it straightforward. So what you're seeing here is it's reflected in the rendered elevations and also on the landscape plan, but in place of that is per comments that we received, we replaced that with landscaping that would conceal the mechanical units and the electrical meter that are in view in this elevation. Aside from that, other than the window changes that I discussed, going 6/6 and then changing the vent that we have at that gable ends to a triangular vent in cedar, those are primarily the changes that happened here on this elevation.
Okay. Thank
On
you
the
very much. Oh, that's it?
I just have the other two elevation faces I can go through.
Oh, okay, sure. Yep.
On the next page, the west elevations, the primary change that happened here is that the windows that were previously ganged together, we separated in order to align with the windows that were below that, just to provide some uniformity between the first and second floor. And then we changed the skirting around the building to the vertical. And then on the last page, the east facing elevation, primarily, other than changing the skirting around the building and the windows, there was a comment about introducing a window back above the doors. And because of the fact that we had to reduce the ceiling height levels on both floors, we weren't able to re-implement a window there that would align with the other windows in a way that we would need it to. So our solution was to introduce a sign on this side of the building to kind of fill that empty space that was created above the entry there. So that was just the changes that were requested, in addition to the rendered elevations that were specifically requested that we have that we can reference as well. That is all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for our applicant, or if not, we can move forward with discussion.
Mr. Chair, I have one
Yes,
question.
Angus, please.
That's the mechanical area. Did I miss something? So there's a note about the windows being the same above there, but the enclosure is gone. Did I miss something? Sorry.
Yeah, so are you referring to what is actually going on there now in the proposed revision?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was requested that we removed the trellis work around the mechanical units and just had landscaping. So in the rendered elevation and then the landscape plan is where we show that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I can go,
Um,
Mr. Chair,
Oh, great.
if you're ready for comments.
Yeah, I'm ready for comments. Go ahead, Abby. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the changes. A couple of things have come up in the changes. One is that I'd like to see something that says, I am the front door. It's that there's sort of a blankness about this where you don't really know where to enter. And another sort of general comment is there's a typical Nantucket window dimension that it's rectangular, it's 6/6. And the windows that you've proposed, they just seem a little off. They're a little, those panes are a little too square, or something's a little bit not enough Nantucket. And I find that also in the tower, a 6/6 sort of typical Nantucket window. I'd like to see that in the tower. The other thing that I don't think's been addressed is that on the eve forward of the main mass, it bisects that tower in a way that sort of cuts it off. And you might, I don't know how you remedy this, but you might want to decrease the dormer so that you can bring in that roof away from the tower, so it doesn't bisect it so harshly. I have to ask you, do you know what I'm talking about? Because
Can you refer to what elevation you're seeing that?
it's on the front. Let's see.
It's this right here.
Okay. Is it the overhang of that roof?
The way it bisects the tower. If this were brought in, you could see more of the tower. Just sort of.
Okay.
It just looks like it's like in front of it and not. I mean, the tower, I think, is one of your defining features. So I think it's now the eave is sort of, it sort of seems in front of it. And the tower is kind of cool, so I'd like to see more of it.
Yeah.
But I would like you to address a front door and maybe some typical Nantucket window fenestration on the first floor.
Okay.
So that it might ground it a little bit more. But thank you very much.
Okay, Abby, thanks. Who's next?
I'll go, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Stephen.
All right, I'm sorry, what's your first name again?
Jonathan.
Jonathan, thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate the changes. I'm trying to reconcile a couple things though.
Okay.
One, the illustrations that were provided, I'm looking at the drawing stamped August 14th. Are these not replications of the line drawings? They appear to be somewhat different. I think we went through this the last time, so I'm just trying to understand.
So on this document here, page 7 is the revised rendered elevations that we propose that are the exact same as what as the line drawing.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you direct staff through on the presentation? What slide is that?
So page 7 and page 9 are the revised rendered elevations.
Okay, and that's what I believe I'm looking at now. And are these a line for line replication, or is there artistic license here?
No, these are line for line.
Okay. And then I have to ask that there's an elevator
A lift, yes, a chair lift.
for ADA. Okay. Okay, so I appreciate looking at these. Can we zoom in a little bit? I want to address a couple things Abby mentioned because I think they're important and relevant. Your fenestration units basically require one more column of lights, and then you'll get the more accurate or more Nantucket typical proportion in terms of height to width. You may have to adjust the height of the windows a little bit in order to make that work. I think the modification of the dormer windows, bringing them up into the top plate area, and then modifications to the windows on the tower, that's very successful. You didn't have to change the dormer height or therefore the usefulness. So that's good for, the facility, but at the same time, aesthetically, it's much more appropriate and typical. Abby makes a good point about the roof line intersecting or appearing to intersect in what elevation is that?
This is the north elevation.
North. Okay, thanks. However, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is kind of an optical illusion. It actually doesn't connect.
Yeah.
And also this is on the water side, so you won't ever see this from the street. From the water, you'll actually see the separation of the two structures.
Correct, yes.
Okay, so unfortunately, we don't get to see it here in the drawings, but I wanted to make sure I understood that correctly.
Yes.
Just haven't been down there a lot.
Yeah, and it's deceiving because that tower is at a 45-degree angle as well. So that also adds in, it looks like it is in the same plane when it's not.
So it's actually.
Is the tower a square or is it got?
The square turned sideways.
It's a square, yeah, just kind of canted. And it's specifically, there because that's the harbor master's office overlooking the water.
Yeah, no, I think it's quite cool.
Okay, I think that.
It is deceiving though, yeah, definitely.
I think that's this elevation is successful. I appreciate the simplifications in all regards. What's striking me as a little bit odd is, so your design flood elevation is obviously reflected, or is it reflected in the upper elevation, and then it's masked in the lower elevation?
Yeah, so what we're having to do is we're bringing down the exterior wall assembly down in order to not have such a large mass in the vertical skirting. So we made up for that. So that's why, but the porch side that you're seeing, it has that full face.
Right. And is there a step up to go in the door, or that's flush? Because the lift is the interior or to the porch?
The lift is to the porch.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you have to have flush for ADA. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So the only comment I would have on that topic is that I think it would be beneficial to raise the water table on the tower and on this lower elevation
Okay.
about a foot, maybe not, just a little bit so it's not such a stark difference.
Yeah.
Personal preference, I think, but it also makes the shingle height, the number of rows of shingles between the water table, the horizontal board above the skirting, and the windowsills will be decreased.
Right.
It's not going to be decreased to a typical height, but at least
Closer to what
it
we
would be
have.
decreased. Can we go to the other two elevations? What's the roof shingle material going to be?
It's just an architectural shingle.
Do you know the
in
color?
Black, in black.
Black, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. I think here the comment again about the skirt really kind of shows where that an adjustment of about a foot higher would
Right.
be beneficial. I definitely would not want to see corner boards on the tower. I think it accentuates the difference. And I'm wondering if there's any reason to have corner boards on the front of the structure. It makes it appear as though that's floating. We kind of picture frame that mass, and I would suggest that eliminating the corner boards would be beneficial. Other than that, I mean, I get the fenestration is kind of atypical for most of the windows on the first floor, but that's bathroom space. So
Yeah.
that's form follows function.
Right.
Those are my comments. Thanks for the changes. Really appreciate it. Looks, I think you're there on some minor modifications.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Who's next?
I can go.
Connie?
I appreciate all the changes. I don't have really anything to add. I just think, like Stephen said, a couple minor tweaks here and there, and I do think it's appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Connie, thank you. Angus?
I agree with what's been said. I'll keep it short. One of the things that looks like it changed in that east elevation of the intersection or overlap of the gable with the tower, I was looking, there isn't really a floor plan or a roof plan to see that separation or intersection or however it works, but it looks right in the latest iteration of the east elevation, but it still looks like there's an overlap in the north elevation. So, yeah.
So the east elevation is definitely correct.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely correct.
Okay. That's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, Angus, thank you. Well, as I understand it, these people are about to lose their Concom approval. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're on.
Jonathan?
Yeah, we were on an extension that expires in October, so we are preparing to go in for the building permit. So
Expires in October, because my own view of this is that we've seen this enough times. You've made enough revisions that I feel like it's appropriate. Most of what was said by the commissioners were tweaks rather than what I would consider to be like quantum changes to, major design revisions. So I'm basically fine with this. And I think, given the windows and things like that, this is not your typical house. It doesn't want to look like a house because it's not. There are a lot of features on it that we certainly would not approve on a house, like the turret, those sorts of things. But I think that it's an appropriate design. Those are my comments. So can somebody make a motion, please?
Holly's got her hand up, Mr. Chair.
Stephen, did you say that?
Holly's got her hand up.
Oh, Holly's got her hand up. Holly, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I only wanted to reiterate my recommendation. Should the board be so inclined to approve, which it sounds like that's the direction you're gonna go, that a finding is made that the changes to the previously approved design is appropriate, even with the previously approved Anderson windows, which is
Yeah.
atypical in the OHD,
Yeah.
but not to be considered precedent setting. Also, any signage shown on these elevations must receive a separate COA application pursuant to the sign book. Thank you for
Right.
your consideration, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Holly. Jonathan, I'm assuming that you're aware of the sign guidelines and the fact that you're going to need to apply, and that's a
Yes.
separate bit.
Yeah, we
Okay.
felt it was important to show for purposes of just understanding of where they would be, but yes, we
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. Well, I think we all appreciate that. Thank you. So can somebody give me a motion?
Yeah, I got a couple quick questions though first, Mr. Chair.
Sure, Stephen, go ahead.
Jonathan, I think you're familiar with our Exhibit A process, but an Exhibit A basically means that a drawing gets marked up, and that is the equivalent of not having to turn in additional drawings. That's what it gets, the approval is based upon.
Okay.
But the drawing should be supplemented with, can be supplemented with that modification to conform to the Exhibit A. The point I'm making is that with respect to the permitting process, and I only bring this up because timelines have been brought up, that the Exhibit A is what can be attached to the COA, and the COA, the certificate of approval application, then becomes a certificate of approval for purposes of a building permit.
Okay.
So given that, I mean, I understand the sensitivity of, deadlines. I think it's incumbent upon us to state that, we can't be put in a position where another board's timeline or construction documentation and drawings and design are forcing the HTC's hand. It's a one-off, it happens. And I think if we as a commission personally can accommodate that, we should try to. With that said, Mr. Chair, quick question, Jonathan. Window fenestration changes, adding a column of lights, and obviously corner boards, no big deal, raising that water table line.
Yep.
All right. Again, noting Exhibit A is what you walk out the door with figuratively for the permit.
Okay.
With that said, Mr. Chair, motion for an Exhibit A,
Okay.
which would show the lower water table raised approximately a foot. What's the lower elevation cardinal point, Jonathan?
Where sorry.
The gable with the signage and the the ganged windows on the
one on the bottom.
Yeah.
Which is that?
Yeah, which cardinal point is that?
That's the east elevation.
Okay, so Exhibit A motion would be that the water table be raised a foot wherever it's below the level of the deck skirt. Which elevation did we say that was? East?
East.
East elevation, eliminate the corner boards on the frontmost facade. And I think that add a column of windows, lights, and minor adjustments to the dimensions of the windows so that they're a more typical light pattern.
Okay.
It'll look a lot simpler in the drawing. Was there anything that we missed?
Few things, Stephen. The fact that we're using Anderson's here, that we're not using that as a precedent, opening the door on the Anderson, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's applicable given it's a commercial structure, and it's no longer a historic building, and it is literally the bastion of our waterfront, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just
Second the motion for.
yeah, maybe just second the motion just for a second. I just want to make sure, because in some of the drawings, the trim around the windows seems not like, how are we going to make that typical? Because it doesn't, And
Can
some
I
of-
make it a short and sweet answer?
yeah,
The exhibit A will indicate trim typical
typical of,
dimensions, typical trim.
of a Nantucket.
Well, yeah, typical
Okay.
being not Boston.
And how do we, so some of the fenestration, with the chiclet windows, how are we going to?
We're gonna we're gonna indicate that they add a column of lights in order to better proportion the windows to be Nantucket typical.
Okay.
And adjust the sizes accordingly. So, if they need to add an inch to the window width and take an inch of the height out, and, they can sit at their drafting table and do this in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep the costs down, that's all. Is that-
Okay. Are we square on the motion yet?
I think so.
Okay.
Raise the
Um,
freeboard,
and that-
eliminate the
oh.
corner boards, adjust the windows.
And all this is being encapsulated in an exhibit A, correct?
Will be my pleasure.
Great. Okay, so on Stephen's motion for an exhibit A, let's see, Angus,
Aye.
Abby,
I'm not sure.
I'll come back to you. Stephen,
Oh,
Stephen.
okay.
Oh, you were just joking me. Okay. Connie
Aye.
and Abby.
I'll be a nay.
Okay, so that motion and I'm an aye, so that motion carries 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Thank you, everyone. Okay, is this 27 India or 21? Oh, 27. Okay, and it's oh, Angus, you're chairing this. Sorry.
Thank you.
Uriah, are you gonna be screen sharing?
Go ahead and take it.
Take it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, though, Val.
Okay, so next is 27 India. The board is myself, Ray, Abby, Stephen, and Connie. Do we have representation?
Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, please go
Okay.
ahead.
So I'm going to share my screen. I'm sharing my screen. After last meeting, I was supposed to update the existing elevation and of course proposed, which didn't show the proper size of the second floor windows. So that's what I updated on the plans, and all the other changes are the same what we proposed last time. The addition in the back, 1 story with the porch connected to it, which is visible from the west elevation from here. And we are not doing any changes to the main structure, not removing any existing windows or doing anything else to the main structure. Just changing interior partitions at some point, but the main exterior addition is in the back, 1 story. So I think that's all for now.
Thank you, Yuri. Does anyone have questions? If not, I do. So my question is, in the north existing demo, there are 2 second-story windows that are highlighted as being demolished along with first-story windows. Are those historic windows? Is that part of the main block?
It's on the second floor. Yeah, those are like 2/1, not matching the 12/12 existing windows. So those are newer ones which were added there later, and also the first floor are like 6/6. So those are those are not as the windows as the rest, like the rest of the structure.
So you said that the second floor windows are in the main block and those are historic, but they they are 2/1s. But the
Yeah.
ones on the first floor, those are
Those are
they
6/6. They are all different. 6/6 existing, 2/1 on the second floor, and the rest of the structure is, as you see, 12/12 on all other sides.
okay? Thank you for that,
So
Yuri.
yeah, these north elevation windows, yeah, obviously those are changed, but we are pretty much, yeah, where we are extending it, but not touching the other 12/12.
Thank you. Commissioners, who would like to begin?
I can.
Was that Ray?
Yeah,
Oh, please go
I
ahead,
could-
Ray.
sure. Now that Uri has corrected the main mass, which, frankly, he wasn't doing anything to, particularly the roadside. Now that drawings are corrected, I think that, the addition that he's proposing with the little piece, the little mudroom entry on the side is appropriate. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Who'd like to go next?
Good go.
Okay, go ahead, Abby.
So that, we're just talking about that little addition off to the right.
Can't hear you, Abby.
Sorry, Holly. Is there any way that side door that you're proposing could be a little bit wider? It says you have it at, I guess maybe that's the roof pitch, but it does look like 4.5 feet. I was just wondering if that could be just a little bit wider. It looks a little pinched, or is there no room on the site to make that just a little bit wider?
Yeah, there is no room on the side. It's as wide as I could make it, especially because of the property line and setback line doesn't go parallel to the house, so it needs to be, yeah, this, I guess, as wide as I could make it.
Okay, thanks, Yuri.
Welcome.
Okay, so we have Ray's gone, Abby's gone. Connie or Stephen?
Can go.
Go ahead, Connie.
I don't have any concerns. Thank you.
Okay, that's quick. Stephen,
Pardon me?
do you care to comment?
Yeah, can we go to the elevations, please, Fiona? Oh, you're right. But wasn't there a open question on the chimney?
Oh, yeah, wasn't in the right place.
Something. Drawing. Can we double check that? You're right.
Chimney is not changing.
Pardon me?
Chimney is not changing.
Okay. Next step.
It's east and there is west.
Can you back up to the east, please? Okay. That's it. That's all I needed to see.
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted. Oh, was there
Mr.
another?
Chair.
Hang on, I haven't commented yet.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
Thanks, Abby. Holly, would you like to add anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just before you all make any motion this evening, one, to your point about the windows, I would recommend having a window survey. They are on the main block. Obviously, 2/1s are more of a contemporary, but rightfully so. I think that would be appropriate again on the main block. And then two, this addition is sensitive. It's on a 1794 historic, individually significant historic resource, and a historic determination will be more than likely needed from the building side. So I would highly recommend that be part of the motion if you're all so inclined. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Holly. Yeah, that was gonna be my only comment, was just, retaining as much of the original material as possible, but most likely these 2/1s were later additions because they wouldn't have been typical of this original construction. Is that right, Holly?
So what,
That's what I
what
was
did,
thinking too.
you wanted the historic determination added to the approval? And the window survey?
Yes.
Anything else?
It's your motion.
Well, that's what I propose. That's my motion.
All right, on your motion,
I'm an aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Ray,
Aye.
Connie,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Thank you, Yuri.
Thank you.
All right, that moves us on to One Mothball Way.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the board will be myself, Abby, Stephen, Connie, and Joe Paul.
Just connecting here.
Feel free to go ahead whenever you want, Matt.
Alrighty. It's coming up. All right, there we go. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we came back to you previously. We had a garage bay in this left-hand gable. We've since learned that we can actually build a garage, which will be coming before you with in the next week, I think, next week. We came back with a eave forward option and a large shed dormer, which you can see that's in the middle of the page here. And I think that the response we got back was that the gable that was previously approved was more successful. And so we reverted back to that and then just done a simple pent roof at the mudroom door. So with that, look forward to comments from the board, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Who would like to begin?
Well, I could go. This is Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Go ahead.
I have no concerns. I appreciate the reversion back to this, and I think I think this is more appropriate even than the first approval, given the garage doors are gone from view. So that's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Who would like to go next?
I can go.
Go ahead, Abby.
I agree with Joe. Approve the changes.
Great. Stephen or Connie?
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate the changes. No concerns.
And Stephen?
There being no dissents, I'll make a motion to approve.
None from me.
Motion to approve is submitted. Thanks, Matt.
On your motion?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
Ray?
He's not on it.
Oh, sorry, Joe.
But I'm an aye.
Oh, great. And I'm an aye as well. Connie?
Aye.
Great. Thank you.
Oh.
6, Lily.
Okay, with your permission, Mr. Chair, I'll begin.
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So you've seen this once before. This is obviously a structure that you've approved. We came back before you with a few changes to the fenestration on the north elevation. One was we were looking to add some more natural daylight into the center core of this structure, which is a living room. We had two double window units. One is existing. One of the suggestions was, I think universally, nobody liked the double unit. And so one suggestion was to increase the size of the single unit, which is what we've done. All the glass sizes match what's there. It's just been increased by, I think, 2 lights, if you will, width-wise. We're also back for the slightly larger windows, which fall in the kitchen. Again, just trying to get some natural daylight. One other change that we had added that I had not asked for in the previous submission was the addition of a walkout, which is, I'm just going to scroll to the site plan so you can see where that is. It's basically a walkout to the basement. It's towards the back of the property. You can see in the site plan here, it's in this back right corner. So that's an addition. I don't think that's going to be highly visible. A majority of it is obstructed by the massing of the building. And we strategically placed it there so it was as far away from visibility as possible. We obviously also asked for a larger French door in the rear, but I didn't feel like there was a lot of aversion to that from the board. So with that, look forward to comments from the board, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Matt. Does anyone have any questions? All right, who would like to begin?
Matt, these are the only two changes you're proposing?
There's a number of them. There's on the north elevation, which is a street elevation, there's the window, there's the kitchen windows that were requesting to be slightly larger. You can see that the walkout is slightly visible. Again, that's pretty far from the road. And then on the back, there were some the French doors and then some minor window changes that we had just added. So
Okay.
it's a few.
But none of those, okay, yeah, so the French doors are gonna want to comment on, I think on the north elevation, right? Yeah, the windows, I appreciate what you're trying to accomplish, but the triple gang double hungs, it's just too vanilla. I mean, for me, I think it'd be appropriate to replicate proportionately the window to the left of the front door and then just tack a small window like that's there on it. So you have a big window and a small window, either 6 inches from it or literally on it. I mean, these are these kind of quirky details of this cottage. I think it would be consistent with the vocabulary in either instance. On the French door, is it actually a French door if there's only one of them?
Well, there's two.
Well, go to the next sheet.
And what do they call French doors in France? I've always been curious about that. It's actually two in the back.
It's a double?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. No, there you go. We're not going to see this?
No, unless you're trespassing.
Well, I wouldn't put past it.
I'm a public way, no.
I mean, I want to say that a panel there or some type of a modification would be more appropriate. However, we're not going to see it, so I'm not going to comment on it.
We
Even
could do
though
a
I
panel.
did.
Yeah, we could do a panel.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Who would like to go next?
I could go. This is Joe speaking.
Thanks, Joe. Go ahead.
Sure. Appreciate the, I guess, concession of doing the panel on the French door. I think that is appropriate. I didn't quite understand Stephen's description regarding the triple. I don't have a concern with it as is, and I don't have any other concerns. But if Stephen, through the chair, if you don't mind, could you clarify what you were saying regarding the triple window on the front elevation, the north?
Yeah, sure. So the window to the left, the double hung window to the left of the front door.
Yep,
the 810, the 20 light. If that were downsized to fill the space of two of the triple and used in place of two of the triple with either the third triple appended or separated by 6 inches, I think it would be more appropriate. These triple windows, I mean, that just looks like something you'd see on any Nantucket home. And I think this has a little more character than that. If you look to the left of the tower, you get a completely different fenestration package and feeling vocabulary than if you look at the tower and to the right. So I think adding a little bit of flavor would be beneficial. Personally.
Okay.
Joe, does that answer your question?
Kind of. I need to see an exhibit A.
Huh.
I still don't understand it, but I don't want to take up any more time. Thanks.
Maybe I can tease that out a little. Stephen, the windows that are already approved, what change are you suggesting would be in a, like, um, the response? Are you saying an additional or different window, or keeping those windows in the triple? Just not
You're
making
talking to
them?
me?
Yes.
Oh, I think, well, let me see if I can say it the same way, but differently. I think that the triple double hung package is appropriate to a typical Nantucket home. I don't think it does this cottage justice. I think the vocabulary of the fenestration to the left of the tower, which is varied, is the character of the structure and beneficial. I think that a portion, two of the triple double hung could be replaced with one wide double hung window and either have it be the wider with a smaller one directly next to it, or and actually, Matt, I was thinking the other two. Just the way I was thinking that would be a wider double hung, and then you could have the single next to it, adjoining it, or 6 inches away.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, me too now. Okay.
And I don't know that, I mean, I just think it would be more becoming the structure, that's all.
Okay, thanks for that clarification.
Well,
Joe, back to you.
Oh, really? Yeah, well, I generally understood that you wanted to make this more eclectic to the right of the tower, and I don't disagree. And now I understand what you were talking about. So I think that is I support that direction. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Joe. Holly, your hand is up. Do you want to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, just be on the topic of what was also proposed. Matt had mentioned about the walkout basement, which was added in between the last review and the revisions. One, it's not reflected on the COA, so should the board be so inclined, it needs to be updated on the COA. But also, more importantly, is that walkout basement, based on what I see on the plans, it also includes a 1 foot 4 inch move of the structure further that direction to accommodate that. So just want to bring that to the attention that also needs to be indicated on the COA. And that I would just further mention that that front character defining window should stay as an 8/8. And if the board is so inclined to approve this evening, that you all have a historic determination on this contributing structure, so that there should be a finding that the structure will retain its historic character with the revisions, and therefore will still continue to be a historic structure if you all get to that point this evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks for that, Holly. Connie.
I was okay with this the way it was submitted or proposed, but I do kind of like that quirky little window design. If we can kind of incorporate that, I think that would be great, appropriate. Thank you.
Okay. I think that just leaves me.
Or me.
Oh, Abby. Comes around, goes around.
I'm just trying to digest this new 8/8 window. It's sort of would it be, but it would be right under that eave, right? It wouldn't be the same height as the one to the left of the front door.
Right.
Right, okay. So I see your point that the 3 ganged look a little generic, and quirky is definitely the name of an Underhill cottage. So I'm willing to think about that suggestion. That's where I am.
Thank you. So I agree with Holly about the character defining 8/8 window. In all of the Underhills, I haven't seen one wider than that. And so at a certain point, it starts to look more like a picture window with a meeting rail in there. And so I appreciate the return to a single window, but the addition of lights, I think changes that character. Any opportunity to change this gang to triple, I've had an issue with it from day one. And I'm trying to think how this could get improved by, maybe using the 8/8 or something over there. But just in the gable, there's a single window, and in the shed, there's a single window below it, and there's a single window. This is what characterizes the front of this are the single standalone windows. So I'd really be in favor of, you might get a larger window by going with a single 8/8 over where the triple is, if you want to consider that. I'm okay with the areaway as long as all the changes that Holly had mentioned are dealt with. And
Could I make a suggestion?
in a second.
Okay.
And I agree about having up kick panels where the French doors are. Yes, Abby, go ahead.
I was going to say, because it is an old historic building, would you mind if we held it over for just you looking at it and seeing what might work?
Yeah, I
And that-
mean, we're getting close, but
Yeah.
I'm going to come back with the double and the single, and then I am going to take one more shot at keeping the 8/8, but then maybe adding a quirky window floating somewhere on that wall plane, and you guys can tell me if you hate it.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
think
happy to
that-
do that.
I
And I'll
think
add
that-
the kick panel.
Yeah, then that's my motion to hold for. Maybe you could give us two options or something.
Yeah,
Just-
but if I could also just add one quick thing, where this is an addition to the Underhill Cottage, which again, I'm a huge fan of and love. The fact that this is an addition and
Mhm.
there is a slightly higher concentration of fenestration might work in favor of discerning itself from the original. Just a thought.
Okay, that's my motion then.
On your motion,
I'm an aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Connie,
I
Joe,
Aye.
I am an aye as well.
Thank you all for your time.
Thanks, man. That brings us to the last one, Ray?
In here.
There I am. Thank you. Let's see. 10 New Lane, right?
Sophie, did you want a screen share?
Okay.
I did, please.
How do I
You
get
do,
that?
you said?
Yes, please.
Okay. Rick, promote
Okay,
your
Sophie,
email us.
while you're getting that set up, I'll give the board, it's myself, Angus, Carrie, Connie, and Joe.
Is my screen sharing working?
We're seeing
Not
you.
yet.
Um. What did it do? Can you help me?
So you're gonna hit share, and then you're gonna highlight
Share
your
desktop.
PDF, and then you're gonna hit share
I'll
again.
say open
Or looks like you have help.
right here. Sophie, hit enter. That'll work.
Open. Quit and reopen. I'm trying, sorry.
Say
That's okay.
later. Okay, see if that works. Got it. Try the share one more time. It doesn't work. The computer has to
Yeah.
reset.
Allow.
There you go.
I say allow. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hi.
we got it.
Sorry about that. So to remind you guys, 10 New Lane is a very large lot on New Lane. It's on the left side as you're driving north. The original house has been demolished and the garage from the 90s. So one of the first things that you guys really hadn't liked in the last 2 times that we've been in front of you guys for this, the site strategy had been that the house was pushed back and there was a shed on the front up at the street. And it seemed like you guys really hadn't liked that. So I met with the clients and asked them, Angus had really pushed for this, that we could change that, come to you with the setup as it had been before. So on the site plan on the right here, you guys see where the old house had been, which is in the photo to the left. And there had been a 2-car with a guest house above it in the rear, which is this perimeter here. So the clients heard what you said and so are coming back with this new proposal, which is very similar to what was there before in terms of the house, sitting back about 50 feet, and they don't need a 2-car garage with a guest house. So what you'd see in the back, the streetscape there was sort of a porosity that you were wanting as you looked to the right of the house, that you would see this break into the backyard. So hopefully that's clear on the site plan there of what you'd be experiencing from the road. The front elevation, which had been what you guys were most concerned about, this is what we had originally asked for, which was a gable forward, pretty wide. You had liked ostensibly nothing about this. Half of you didn't like the gable forward. You thought the roof walk was too large. You felt the house was too wide. You had not liked the rafter tails. So the client side, so we've done a full redesign. You felt like it was too far to the right setback. So the full thing is bubbled because everything has changed. And so this is what we are coming to with now, which is an eave or shed forward, not a gable forward, matching the trim detailing of no rafter tails. Very similar to other houses on the street. 6/1s, which is in keeping with the street, a much smaller roof walk on the face. It's being proposed with wood roof, solid wood windows, wood sidewall, obviously no corner boards. And so I'm hoping you guys really feel like I listened to you and that the clients responded to what you're saying, which is on the site plan, not so different from what they had before. We're 6 inches closer than their old corner had been on the right side. That view corridor is retained. We eliminated the shed being in the front. It does extend on the left side a bit, but it is a brand new house and they were shooting for something larger than what they had before. But hopefully that doesn't offend you.
No offense taken.
Thank you.
Okay, Sophie, thanks. What do you think, folks?
I'm happy to go first.
Angus, great, thank you.
Thank you so much. God, I feel like I've been heard. I appreciate all the revisions, especially the having a sense that there's space around the house, even though it's pushed, consolidated to the south property line. There's now a vista that, presumably will go back further than it already does as is. So I appreciate all of it. So I'm good with this. Thank you.
Great. Okay, Angus, thank you. Who's next?
I can
can go.
say ditto.
That
I
would
was
be
gonna say ditto
Carrie
too.
Gary, yes. And I think
and
if
Connie's.
everyone,
Connie's a ditto.
oh,
Yeah. And
It's all happening too fast for me. Take my notes.
I'm a ditto as well, and I would also add that I wouldn't object to rafter tails on the structure. I think it's a charming detail, but fine with it as drawn as well. Thanks.
Wow. Okay, it's always nice to end our meetings on a very positive note. I'm with Joe on the adding that stuff back. Sophie, I thought that your earlier proposal, gable forward, was, acceptable, but like this one is just a no-brainer. Okay, so I think we're all together on this. Can I have a motion?
motion to approve with rafter tails if so chosen.
Okay, if chosen, what do you think about that, Sophie?
That would be great. Thank you very much. But I don't think they want them at this point based on the change.
She's only suggesting it as an option that you can choose or choose not to use.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so that's Carrie's motion. On Carrie's motion, let's see, Angus,
Aye.
Connie,
I,
Joe,
Aye.
and Carrie,
Aye.
and I'm in favor.
Thank you guys so much.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Angus, to do the concluding stuff.
Thank you, but we've only got two commissioners at the table here, so everybody who's left, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Thank you for that on your motion, Connie.
I.
Ray,
Aye.
Joe?
I'll be an aye.
You'll be an aye.
Thank you all. I'm an aye as well. Have a good evening.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks,
You too.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Aye.